Yes.
Great. And I'm just going to show up myself here, say hello to you. Let's bring this up. And let's see, also share my screen here. Say, come here. There you go. That's one I want to share. Okay. Share everything. Okay. There you go, guys. Good morning, everyone. Hope you can see me.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, guys.
Good morning, sir.
Hey.
Good morning.
Thank you again. I appreciate that. And let me just adjust my lighting here. There you go. There you go. There you go. Okay. Maybe I'll turn a little bit here. Okay, great. Thank you. Sorry about that, guys. Just change my position and things like that in my room and so on. And I guess we can go ahead and get started, guys. So to start with, I'll go ahead and give a brief introduction about myself, and then we'll get into the plan and things like that. I have too many things running on my laptop, trying to close some apps, guys. Give me one moment. Paint. Logging into a different account today, so it's taking a little bit time. There you go. Okay. Sketch. Let me bring this up. Okay, gentlemen, ladies, on a slightly friendly this thing, we'll start with a good note here. So this is one of my favorite sayings or proverbs. If you want to awaken all of the humanity, then awaken all of yourself. If you want to eliminate the suffering in the world, then eliminate all that is dark and negative in yourself. Truly, the greatest gift you have to give is that of your own self-transformation. Lao Tzu, I think, coming from Chinese wisdom and things like that, I think, guys. So I think the suffering outside that we are generally seeing is nothing but the darkness inside us. So I think if we remove the darkness inside us, the suffering of everybody will come to an end. It seems to be what it looks like, guys. Okay, so that's one of my favorite sayings or proverbs. I really am charmed and charmed with it, guys. Okay, so just sharing with you in a slightly friendly way. Moving ahead, an investment in knowledge is the best investment. Benjamin Franklin, a bit more wisdom there. There's a good point in that one, guys. Okay, and here's a brief introduction about myself. Let me bring up my screen here. Snap this one. Put this one here. Choose this. Okay. So my name is Naveen Pathuru. I have over a quarter of a decade in the world of IT and analytics, data analytics, big data. 10 plus years I lived in USA. Last 14 years, actually from 2000, where was that? 2008, I came back to India, and I've been involved in various kinds of startups and freelancing and corporate trainings and things like that. I'm primarily involved with Python R, the AI world, the big data world, the Devops world of late. I've been heavily involved in things like that, and that's where I will be trying to help you out in understanding some of the concepts and real world scenarios and things like that. That is going to be the plan, guys. Okay, and let me see where are the participants here. Okay, so before I get started, guys, what I'll also do is let's go ahead and have a quick and a friendly introduction of some of you guys in a slightly friendly way. So I also know a little bit about yourself, and I will be able to expect set the expectations and things like that, guys. If it is possible, just go ahead and share your video for a moment, and please try to give a brief introduction about yourself. Whatever brief you can give, guys. It's just a little bit of knowing about each other. Okay, so let's say start with maybe Aniket is on the top. Aniket, can you start with your brief introduction, please?
Okay. Hi, my name is Aniket Telang. Okay, I have about 6 years of IT industry experience. and currently I'm working with COE team as a tech lead for cloud infrastructure. So yeah, looking forward for this training.
Okay, great. Thank you, Aniket. Aniket, you're a tech lead for the cloud infrastructure. Okay. Okay, as good as that. Okay. And let's say go to Kajal.
Hello.
Yeah, Kajal.
Yeah, hi. My name is Kajal Yadav. I have actually today we mark 1 year into this company. This is our first company for most of us. And yeah, looking forward for it. I'm working as a technical analyst in this company.
No? Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. So you completed 1 year and it's Women's Day. So happy Women's Day to all the women over there. Working hard for your families and things like that, guys. Keep it up. So you're a tech analyst. Okay, great. Okay, let's move on to Lakshmi. Lakshmi, would you like to just maybe have a friendly introduction? You can share, or you want me to move on? Okay.
Hi, this is me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, good. Let's move on to Moin. Let's see. Here's Moin. Can you come online?
Yeah, hi Naveen. Good morning. Myself is Moin. I have 4 years of total experience. So presently, I'm working as tech lead for Openstack, OpenStack-based clouds.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said you have 23 years experience, huh?
Yeah, 4 years of experience.
4.
Sorry, not 23, 4 years of experience.
My bad. Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Then more, and let's see who else is online here. Not many here. Nitesh, go ahead, buddy.
Hi Naveen, good morning. I have also joined NSCIT as a fresher, and I have also completed around 1 year here in the cloud computing domain, and I am a technical analyst here. And looking forward to with this training to learn something.
Wonderful. Thank you, Nitesh. Let's see, I think we just have a few of them here. Okay, bunch of them. Let's see. Okay, so what we'll do, guys, I will not bore you much with today's introductions. I will also continue the introductions tomorrow so that you're not getting bored. Let's wrap up with maybe Rahul Gupta. Just introduce yourself, buddy.
Hello, sir. Good morning. My name is Rahul. I have around 1 year of experience in a cloud. I'm working as a technical analyst in the COE department in NSCIT. And looking forward to have more experience in the cloud through this course.
Good. Cool. Great. Thank you, Rahul. And I will say a few introductions for tomorrow so that you're not bogged down with too many introductions for today and things like that. So let me go here. And this is going to be NSC, STM, and let's see, here is NSC. Say team. Okay. So let me just adjust my window here, and I guess I can, I'll turn off my video just so that we are saving a little bit on the bandwidth and things like that, guys, okay? And with that, what I would like to do is my coming up plan. Let me see if my paint is up here. Notch it up. Let's try this one. Bring it up. Okay. So before I go there, okay, back to, so there it is, guys. That's a brief introduction about myself. And if you're noticing and observing here, what we have is, I'm sure you all recognize it's basketball. There are a few things which are happening here, guys. Some of the most important things in the game is passing, catching, and shooting. And what is special about them is they are the fundamentals. What's happening? Well, today, Devops, AWS, Azure, AI, machine learning, Python, learning these things is like giving a gift to ourselves. So we're starting on a Women's Day. Hopefully you'll find this one helpful, useful in your daily lives and in your rest of the lives. And these are the things that we'll be covering a little bit in the coming up days and coming up weeks, guys, okay? So what companies want today, what enterprises want today is they need insight. They want to understand some useful insights and things like that. That's what we will try to help them. And these tools, these languages will help us in achieving some of the objectives of the goals of the company, guys. Okay. So a little bit wisdom here again. Fear not the man who practiced 10,000 kicks once, but fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. Another favorite quote of mine. I'm sure you all recognize it's Bruce Lee, great guy, and things like that, guys. Okay. So in other words, practice is going to be the mantra. Practice makes you perfect. Practice is mantra. So we'll try our best to do the practice, and do keep it in mind as you go along. Guys. Okay. So with that, everybody okay so far, guys? Can you just type in a Y or a yes? Just a Y should be enough. So far, you guys are all doing okay? Great. Thank you, Shubham. So let me come back here. Let's see if I still have this one. Okay, gentlemen, ladies, this is what I have, a rough and an approximate plan. I will try to execute in the coming up days. The first 2 weeks, I'll be focusing on Python, a little bit of PowerShell and Bash. Then the second week, I will start with, I will continue Python and a touch of Ansible and YAML. The third week will get started with Docker. The fourth week will get started with AI Ops. A little bit of, maybe I might start OpenStack a little early. So the order is just to give you a rough idea. And then we'll also try to get a feel of the GCP infra, guys. Okay, this is going to be my plan in the coming up days and things like that. Okay, one more time, quick yes, please. We're going to be meeting from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the coming up days, and we'll try to get this going.
10 a.m. to 1 p.m. right?
Yes, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's what that has been given.
Also, like, where is this one CI/CD covered in this?
Docker.
Docker. Okay.
Docker
Yeah, just wanted to ask, like, are we covering AWS code pipeline here?
Yeah, that is what I'll cover as part of the Docker.
AWS code pipeline, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Great. So one of the primary reasons that I have Python, I'm beginning with Python, guys, most of these things have a little bit of touch of a scriptural context revolving around them. So if you get started with Python, it will become easy and very easy for us to learn rest of the things and to be able to understand that. So that is the reason we'll be starting with Python, guys. Okay. So for today, let's get started here and see what we have here, guys. At any point of time, if you have any questions and things like that, please just try to raise your hand in the chat window, or maybe just type in the chat window and I'll try to take the questions and things like that. We'll try to keep this a little bit of hands-on. If you guys are also able to get your laptops on, you can also do some of the labs and things like that online along with me as I'm here, so that you'll get a good feel of it, especially in the first few days. If you get a feel of some of the basics, you'll be able to drive it yourself later. So try to have your laptops on and be ready to maybe share your screens and things like that, guys. Okay, that's going to be the plan. That is what we have done earlier. And so that's the plan, guys. Okay, with that, let's get started here and see what we have. Okay, so what is Python, guys? Python is a very high-level dynamic-oriented programming language. It is not high level, it is very high level. So high level is Java and .NET are high level. C, C++ are low level and very low level. Python is very high level, means it's higher level than Java and .NET. Why? We'll try to understand in a moment, guys. Okay, it is dynamic. What is dynamic means? In the world of .NET and Java programming, or in the world of traditional programming languages, we need to first say or tell, anytime we create an object or anything, any variables, we need to tell the data type. So what is an object? What is a variable? What is the data type? That is what we'll try to understand. Don't worry about that, guys. Okay. In Python, you don't need to say. As you create the variables and the objects, you can leave it to Python. Python will dynamically understand it or infer it. That is why it is referred as dynamic. It is referred as dynamic, as simple as that. In Python, everything is an object. To understand an object, we need to understand what is a variable. To understand a variable, we need to understand a slightly more friendly language. So what is it? Everything is an object in Python. So it is also referred as a object-oriented programming language. And why is it important? We'll try to understand in a moment, guys, okay? So now come to the friendly mantra here. If you take a look at this guy, so here is a scenario, the story of a crow. I'm sure we all have heard this story. If you're coming from a non-programming background, you're trying to drink the water in a jar, and you need to put in a bunch of pebbles. It takes more time, and you'll get your water. If you're a programmer, it is slightly easy. The crow is drinking it with a straw. If you're a Python programmer, your IT world, more precisely, whether you're in AWS, whether you're in Azure, whether you're in AI, machine learning, networking, is much more simple and easier. Why? Primarily because Python is very high level, guys, okay? So it is as it is. The guy is much more comfortable, he's in a much more comfortable state and a position. More precisely, that is just giving you a friendly idea and a friendly touch of, or a friendly introduction of what is Python, guys, okay? Everybody okay with this slide, guys? Can you give me a quick yes, please? You can just type in a Y. Very good, thank you, guys. Here and there, just extend your support there. And so there it is, guys. That is the first one about Python. It is easy to program and read. It is easy compared to the Javas, .NET, C++, Cs and things like that. That's what we mean by it is easy to read. It is a much more friendlier programming language when you look at it. People who generally get used to Python don't leave Python. The people who are generally working in .NET and Java, they're generally waking up and thinking, hey, when will I get out of this Java and .NET? Whereas Python programmers don't. They don't really like to leave. Has been a good thing about it. It is similar to Perl. Perl is a very, very powerful scripting language. If you think Perl is like a big brother, Python is like the godfather. Perl is very powerful because it has a lot of inbuilt functions and things like that, scripts available. And as I said, if you think Perl has good, useful scripts and things like that, Python has super useful scripts. Perl is restricted to only certain operations, file operations and things like that, whereas Python is in everything. That is why we are referring Python as the godfather. It has very powerful typing and object-oriented features. So in other words, we'll try to understand what is typing, what is an object, a bit of computer science coming into the picture, guys, okay? Everybody okay with the slide? Quick yes, please. Can I move on to the next one? Good, thank you. So again, a little bit theory. It is commonly used for producing HTML content on websites, means we can build HTML websites, HTML web applications and things like that. You can also build web-based. We can also build Windows-based applications also, guys, okay? It is useful. It has lots of useful built-in data types. So if you're new to programming and things like that, these are things we'll try to get a feel of it and try to understand them. There are not only simple data types, but there are some advanced data types also in Python. Its syntax is very clean. Compared to other programming languages, its syntax is very clean. And it has powerful extensions, means it has lots of modules and packages. Whether you're touching networking, the cloud, the Devops, or anything and everything, it has lots of useful packages and modules available, guys, okay? It is great for text processing. In the world of computer vision, machine learning, deep learning, natural language processing, Python is like a rock star. When companies or enterprises go into these data analytics world, Python is their rock star. They will not really go into any other thing because it has been proving itself to be the rock star. It is not just a star, it is a star of stars, it's a rock star. And that is why people are going after Python, guys, okay? Everybody okay with this slide? Quick yes, please. Cool, okay. So software quality, why Python? It focuses on the readability. It is much more simple and easy to read. If you give maybe 2 or 3 days time, we'll get into a slightly advanced concepts and we'll be looking at much more deeper concepts in Python. You'll get a good feel of why they say it is much more readable. Coherence and software quality, it gives you a good feel. Good feel and good feel compared to other programming languages, guys. Let me not over exaggerate there. And it sets it apart from other languages in the scripting world. Other languages are like the big brothers. They do come to your rescue. They will help you. But Python is like a godfather. In other words, it's powerful and it's super powerful because of its modules and packages. People who worked in the world of Python have been very generous. Whatever they were writing, they have opened it up to the world. They have given it for free. And what is free in Python, if you go into the many of the Javas and the .NET worlds, especially, you will need to buy them. Commercial licenses need to be purchased and things like that, guys. Okay, so that is slightly from a software quality. Its code is typically 1/3 to 1/5 the size of C++ or Java. So in other words, we write much lesser code. Code is generally complex. Less code is less complexity, less time, less budget, less effort. And from a company, enterprise, and a management standpoint, it becomes much more simple and easy. Less to type, less to debug, less to test, and less headache is what it is, guys. Okay, it also makes it is also code friendly, guys, and we'll also try to get a feel of that. Portability, it can work on Windows, Linux, Mac, OS, any the top 3 operating systems of the world, any of the. So if we write a Python program in Windows, it will work on Linux and it will also work on other, and vice versa, guys. Okay. It comes with a large collection of pre-built and portable functionality. In other words, it has tens and hundreds of modules and packages available. These are external modules. The standard library is what comes with Python when we download Python. And that is referred as standard library. There are a lot of functions. These functions, because of these functions, we end up writing less code. It supports an array of application programming level tasks, from text pattern matching to network scripting. So in other words, it's there in everything, guys. Okay, we have package or module in everything. It is much more easier to integrate Python into other parts of the applications and programming languages than vice versa. You want to call Java from .NET to Java, you need to write a web service and things like that. With Python, there are much more simpler shortcuts. So in other words, it makes it much more easier to work with the scripts or integration of other applications, guys. Okay, it is much more pleasurable. People who are generally used to Python don't leave Python. They don't want to get into other programming languages because they can do the same stuff with less code, less time, less effort, and it's easier to understand, guys. So it is generally referred as much more pleasurable programming language. Everybody okay so far? Quick yes, please. Great, thank you, guys. Okay, so the next thing that we will try to do before I get here, let me bring up my Jupyter here and I'll give you a feel of it and then I'll come back here, guys. Okay, so what we are looking at is a Jupyter notebook. This is part of the Anaconda distribution. I will try to explain that in a moment here, but let me just give you a quick feel of it so that you have the context here, guys. And let's see if I turn this off, something. Okay, let me refresh this. Let me touch the Conda here. So let's refresh this. Taking time here. Strange. Copy this one. Looks like this is stuck here. See if it'll cooperate. Pardon me. It's taking sweet little time. Back here. So, there you go. So this is the Jupyter notebook, guys. We'll get started with this Jupyter notebook. It is one of the most widely and popularly used IDs. It's a web ID, and I will try to give you much more formal explanation in a bit. But let me show you something first. So this is how we'll create a new Python script editor. It is referred as a notebook. And let me bring this up here, back here. Okay, let's give one moment to it. I'll show you how to install all these things in a moment. Okay, put that there. Okay, take a look at this, guys. So here is view, say toggle header, view, say toggle toolbar. So that's a toolbar, that's a header. We'll just give, let's say, where are we? It's the first class, right? So we'll say first session, and we're on March, 8th March, right? So just for sake of simplicity, discipline, I'll just put that as reference. So that's going to be your header. This is going to be a toolbar. What we do is this looks like, to begin with, we'll say this is like a text box, and what you do is you can enter things like that, 1+1. Then what you do, you can say run. So what it is doing is it is executing the code. We call this as a cell. A cell is a place where we can write an entire Python script, and whatever we write is referred as input, and what we are seeing is an output. So 1+1 is 2. Next, let's say do a little bit of multiplication, 2 times 2. Next, do a division, 3 times 3. So one way that we can do is you type something here, you can click on run. What it is doing is it's executing it, and then it's creating a new cell. Okay, we can also, what I'm doing is, let's say 4 minus 4, shift enter. A shortcut is shift and enter. And I'll show that to you in a formal way in a moment, guys. So what are these things, guys? These are some calculation operations. These cells which look like text box, you can write. Here we are writing only one line of code, but we can really write some very, very complex code, tens and tens of lines of code here. You generally don't write hundreds and hundreds of lines of code in these cells as part of programming practice, but we generally write multiple lines of code here. So each cell is a place which is acting like a program. And this group of cells is like a group of programs, is referred as a notebook. It is called Jupyter Notebook, guys, okay? That is just to set a context. I don't want you to by heart. There is no need to by heart. We'll be touching this one constantly in the coming up days. And we'll this is going to be our playground, guys, okay? So I just wanted to show you. Let me bring back my slide here. Okay, so what do you do? How do you get this? Well, how you get this is you go here, say, open a new window, say Anaconda, download. Give it a moment. So there it is, guys. You start with Anaconda download, and then you click on individual edition. That is a free edition. You can click on download based on your Windows. You click on the Windows, Mac, or Linux. You can download whatever it is. To keep it simple, we'll start with Windows, then later we'll see how to install it in Linux. Mac should also have a similar process, is what it is, guys. For most of the enterprises purposes, probably you're going to be dealing with Linux followed by Windows, is what it is. So once you download, guys, you should get a screen like this. The material and everything I will be sharing with you in a day or two. We'll hook up a G drive and we'll try to share everything, guys, okay? So earlier it used to be called as continuum.io. Now it is, I think there was a merger or something like that. So it's referred as anaconda.com. Go to downloads, just download based on whether you use this, Windows, Linux. You can do that as we are doing this if you're able to do, but don't be in a hurry, guys, okay? There's no need for that. So again, Python 3.7, probably Python 3.8 is the latest version. So if we come back here, we have, let's say 3.9 is the latest version, guys, okay? Some minor differences in these versions. We should not worry much about them, guys, okay? Then once you download it, you need to install it. And what you want to do is, I'm sure most of you know whether it's a 64-bit or 32-bit. So ideally you would go to the control panel, go to the system, verify yours is 32-bit or 64-bit, guys, okay? I'm just doing a little bit of hand holding here, and select your version, right version, click on that and just save it. Then it should be a pretty friendly and a straightforward install, guys. All you do is, once you double click it, you can leave the defaults. Just me, all users, anything is fine. Leave the default for the destination folder unless you have some company policies and things like that. You can also add Anaconda to my path environment variable. Even if you do that by default, it is unchecked. If you do not have any problem, you can check that and just click on next. That should install, guys, okay? So once you install, you can go, you should find in your start menu, there is Anaconda, Navigator, PowerShell, Anaconda prompt. Here is your Jupyter Notebook. This is the Jupyter Notebook. When I click on this, you will see something like this will open. It will take a minute or two, and you will see this browser coming up, a window like this coming up. And then you can click on new, you can say Python. This becomes a notebook. And I will let's give it a moment. So there it is. That's how it should be. This is how you start a Jupyter and an Anaconda notebook. Everybody with me so far, guys? Can you give me a quick yes, please? Cool. Great. Okay, so there is Jupyter, and these are some of the things that we could do in Jupyter, guys. If you go back here, you can select that, that's a folder. And if you scroll down here, these are the notebooks. They have the extension IPYNB, IPython, Internet Python Notebook. In a friendly way, the people refer it as a Python notebook, as simple as that, guys, okay? And let's say it's back here. So those are the folders, these are the notebooks. And then you can click on new. They have the extension IPYNB, they're referred as notebooks, IPython notebooks. You can rename them, you can delete them. You can just leave the Python default or Python root is okay. And now come back here, take a look at this, guys. Come back here. Okay. Now take a look at this pencil icon. When I created this Python notebook, if I click on this, what it is it is in an edit mode. The pen or the pencil is telling we are in an edit mode, which means we can enter something. 1 times 10, shift enter. Shift enter is going to be your mantra. So now it is still, notice the pencil or the pen. And now what we'll do is I'll say escape, notice that is gone. So that is referred as a command mode. Notice the tooltip, it says it's a command mode. When you're in a command mode, it is generally not editable, is what it is indicating us. We don't need to overly worry about it, but that is the text box, the cell or the input field. Most of the times we refer that as a cell. A cell is where you can write a Python program. A group of Python programs can be written, that is referred as a notebook. Generally, every Python program is written in a separate file. You try to execute it saying Python, here is script1.py and things like that. So that will take up a lot of scripts. Instead of that, we can maintain one notebook and we can write multiple scripts here, guys, okay? So this is the edit mode where we have the pen or the pencil icon. If you say escape, that becomes the command mode. The pen or the pencil icon is gone. Okay, everybody okay? Quick yes, please. Good. So now control enter. So imagine we just again a few basics from a discipline standpoint. If we type in 2 times 10 and I say control enter, notice what it is doing is it is executing it, but notice it doesn't create an additional cell, a new cell. The same thing, I'm going to say shift enter, it is executing it and then it's creating a new cell. So more precisely, it's more of a convenience thing. Whenever you execute something, you create a new cell. You also add a new cell, and then the next step you can continue here, as simple as that, guys. So that is the mantra is this is referred as output field. The output field is generally not modified. The output is what your program is giving you as the output, guys. You modify the input, you don't modify the output. Cool. Shift enter is going to be your mantra. When you do a shift enter, it will execute the input, it will show you the output, it will also give you an additional cell. If not, what we need to do is, let's say, if I type in, let's say 3 times 10 and I do control enter, if you don't have a cell, cell, you need to come back here, say insert cell below. You can also escape DD will delete it, just like your VI editor. I'm sure some of you are familiar. You can say escape B, it will add a new cell. So let's say I put my cursor here, I say escape A, it will add a cell on the top. So if you come here, notice A and B. You say escape A, it will insert a cell on the top. Escape B will insert a cell on the below. Catching it, guys? Everybody with me? Quick yes, please. Very good. Okay, again, some basics. Little little ahead, there is copy. You can copy the cell, you can cut the cell, you can paste the cell. There is, and you can move the cells up and down. You can also, that is also another way to run it. So now over here in the latest version, we have it as run. You execute the cell. You see, you can sell one cell. You can run one cell at one time. You can also, let's say, run cells. You can run all the cells at one time, all above, all below, a few options. Here and there, once in a while, we keep using that, guys, okay? Just one moment, please. Sorry about that. Yes, sir. Oh, okay. So can you hear me, guys? Could you please type in the chat window? Okay, great. Thank you. Sorry about that. So let's see. That is shift enter is going to be your friend, guys. The cells moving and all those things rarely we do. Most of the times you execute a cell, you move ahead. That is to stop a kernel. Behind the scenes, Jupyter is nothing but a lightweight web server. This is Jupyter is nothing but a web IDE. It is an IDE which is running on a lightweight web server is what you may want to keep that in the mind in a slightly friendly way. You don't need to buy heart it or anything, but think of Anaconda. Okay, let me come back here. Bring this up. So, blanket. So here is Anaconda. Let's say I'll choose this one. This is Anaconda. What is Anaconda? Anaconda is referred as a distribution. And what is a distribution? A collection of tools or group of tools. What do we have? We have various kinds of tools. So if you come back here, back to start, it's Anaconda. You go to Navigator. Let's give it a moment. And one moment, guys. Okay, it's a slightly heavyweight thing, so it'll take a little bit of time. While that is coming up, let me come back here. Here is Anaconda. Inside Anaconda, what we have is we have different kinds of tools. Let's say, we'll say here is, oops, here is Python. Oops, oops, one more time. Oy, it's coming in my way all the way down. My search, go here. So this is Python. So here is Python. It also has other tools. Here is R programming language. Then here is, what else we have? We have a bunch of other tools, guys, okay? I think it also comes with the Spider, these days I think they have also added PyCharm. These are the other tools. So it's a group of tools, is what is Anaconda. It is referred as a distribution. And in which Python is one of the most important things that it's most popular. The very reason it got all its popularity is because of the Python world and things like that, guys, okay? You can also think Anaconda distribution is like a car. A car has various components, the engine, the tires, the doors, and things like that. And the most important component, we'll say, for the sake of discipline, is the engine. Without the engine, the car cannot run. Of course, a car cannot run without anything, without many components, but the most important thing, most complex, or the heart of the car is the engine, is what we'll say, guys, okay? Because the engine is the one which is converting the petrol to electricity. So what is Anaconda? Anaconda is like a car. Python, which is part of it, is like the heart of Anaconda, which is nothing but the engine. We can just go to python.org, download Python software. That is like somebody who wants to buy a car is going and getting buying the engine separately. If you buy the engine, you need to buy a lot of other components manually and put them together manually. Whereas Anaconda is like a complete packaged car. You don't need to. When we download Anaconda, a lot of important packages, scikit-learn, pandas, numpy, many of the other packages come installed with it. You don't have to download them manually. You don't have to put them together manually. Everything is assembled together, guys. As simple as that, okay? So Anaconda comes with a group of tools. Still waiting for the navigator to come up here. There you go. You'll be prompted to elevate privileges. Don't show, remind me later. See if it's coming up. There you go, guys. There you go. So they have added a few more. Data lore, okay. Data analyst tool, IBM Watson, Jupyter Lab, Jupyter Notebook, PowerShell, Spider. These are all different kinds of IDs of Python. Jupyter is a web ID. PyCharm, they have it. They have GlueWiz, okay. They have added a few more in the latest version. So this is generally, we don't need to open this complete thing. You can open this and also run that. But generally, Jupyter Notebook is one way we do. Another one is from command line. Most of the times when you're using the Linux environments and things like that, we may also use the command line or the Jupyter Notebook most of the times, guys, okay? So let me close this one just to save some memory. So this is your complete packaged car. The mantra of Anaconda is it's a packaged car. What is Python? Python is the engine. In that car is what you can keep in mind, guys, okay? So back to the Jupyter, escape A, escape B, DD, just like your VI editor. We'll delete the cell of the line. Okay. So cell, markdown cell, these are generally referred as code cells, guys, okay? So now back to the Jupyter notebook here. Take a look at this. When I click here, notice the code. This is a drop-down which has a few options, code, markdown, and other things. So let's say I select this one, code is by default selected, it's a code cell. Now let's say, hey, I type in something like this, how are you? Now I do a shift enter, notice this is text. Okay, this is not Python code. So what you do, let's say, select this one cell and just change it to markdown. And that's how it looks like. Markdown is where you want to saying, hey, just say, I am explaining, or let's say I'm performing a task below. So what is that? That's like a friendly comment, a comment. So in the below cell, whatever you're going to write the code, you're just giving, so that if somebody else, if Kajal writes some code today, tomorrow Nitish is going to look at it. So Kajal is making it easy. So he doesn't have to look at the complete code. He's just getting a quick feel of what is happening here. That is referred as a markdown cell. Everybody okay, guys? So far, quick yes, please. Are you guys doing okay? Great. So that's referred as a markdown cell. You also have an MB convert heading. Those are again, you just want to convert. I have not really used it much, but heading is you just want to give a bold letter and things like that. So let's say we'll change this to heading. So it gives you a few options. This is level 2. Okay, let's say okay. So you want to highlight something and say, hey, I'm performing something here. And okay, back to markdown. And let's say from markdown, I just change it back to code, becomes normal. So here and there, we'll be using markdown, and code is most of the times what we'll be writing and running and things like that, guys, okay? So I come down here. Move to the next one. Again, escape M, that is for turning it into markdown. So there it is. That's what it looks like. One more time. Say, come here. Say, hello, not code, but this is markdown. There you go. I didn't do shift enter earlier. If I do a shift enter, it's just looking like a plain text, a friendly comment, and things like that, guys. Okay. Okay. Now, there's another way we can also get into Python. You can go bring up your command prompt. Let's say cmd. It's run here. Once you install Anaconda, all you do is you just type in Python, and there it says that's the version that I have installed, and Anaconda version is also given here. Anaconda version 1.9.4 916. That's the Anaconda version, guys. Okay. So most of the times we will use a command prompt to write a script. Okay. Generally, what will happen, guys, in real world, you will write a group of lines of code here. You'll take that, you'll save it as a script file, and you want to schedule it, run it as a cron job, or other kind of scheduling stuff and things like that. So what you do is you don't even need to get in this one. I'll show you an example. You just say Python s1.py, save that as a file, and right now it will give an error because I don't have anything, but that is generally what we do, guys. Okay, we'll look at an example. Don't be in a hurry, but that's how you also can get into Python. You can also come to the command prompt. You can say Jupyter notebook, and if you say enter, again the same process will repeat, which is, oops, not here, come back here. It will open Jupyter Notebook. It will take a few seconds, and it will open there's this one, Jupyter Notebook. It will open this one. This is another way to open the Jupyter Notebook. Okay. Shortcut, again, I just hooked up that shortcut in my start because almost on a daily basis I get into this one. So there is Jupyter Notebook. This is the second way of opening a Jupyter Notebook. Quick yes, please. Okay. Surabhi, Sumit, okay, okay. So there is a Jupyter Notebook again, one more time, and things like that. So, okay, guys. So a little bit of about the Anaconda, the Jupyter Notebook. If you're already performing, feel free to play around on your computer and things like that, guys. Okay, just a glass of water. So why Python now? From a general standpoint, Python is becoming more and more popular than any other programming languages because ideally, slightly from a philosophical standpoint, the developers of the Python have been more generous than the developers of other programming languages. That is why Python is picking up. They have made almost anything and everything in their domains as free and open source. So open source is free, guys. That is one of the main reasons of the popularity of the Python. What you do in Python, if you have to do in Java and .NET, we are looking at commercial licenses. Just a little bit of complexity. We have to buy commercial products to save time and things like that. Whereas in Python, you will see these things are available for free. Is what here is a forecast. The dark shaded line tells us, hey, the data is indicating that Python is going to grow further, but that is just a forecast. Forecast is just an approximation or a prediction, guys. Okay. A little bit slightly from a computer science standpoint, it is something if you just have an idea or listen to it one time, we don't have to revisit this for the rest of our life. But slightly from a computer standpoint, how does Python work? Well, what we have here is a function. Let me come back here, got my tool here. So here is a Python function. What we say is generally a Python function is a group of lines of code which looks like English text. It's like English text, a program which seems to be having English text. What is happening is the first step which happens once you write the code is lexical analysis. It is identifying the tokens and things like that. Again, will not worry. It's understanding, hey, which is a keyword versus which is a normal word, which is reserved by Python and things like that. Those are nothing but the tokens and other kinds of identifiers and things like that. That is referred as lexical analysis, guys. Okay, you don't need to by heart it, but just again, will respect the discipline and just get a touch of it, guys. Okay, the second step after the lexical analysis is the abstract syntax tree. Abstract syntax tree is trying to understand. If you, let us say, back to Jupyter, guys. Let's say if you still recall, come back here. Let's say I give something like this. 1, say 10 times 2 plus 3. Now, what is the mantra behind this operation, guys? Any of you recall? If you go back to school, why are we getting 23? Or to confuse you, let me try this one. To be more precise, let me try this one. Times 3. Let's see what we get. Now, why are we getting a different? If you go back to school, does something come to your mind? What's the operation which is happening?
Board mass through.
It's the same output. Any of you recall? Go back to maybe 8th, 9th. There you go. Good one, Kajal. So just multiplication first. Brackets, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction, as simple as that. So Python is following that. So that's what the abstract syntax tree is helping us in understanding which one needs to be executed first. Is it the multiplication? That's what it decides. And that is the second step in the abstract in this process, guys. The third step is it uses the tree and produces the Python object code, also known as bytecode. This is not a bytecode that is understood by the machine, but it's a bytecode specific to Python. In other words, this is Python bytecode. This is not machine level bytecode. This is the third step, guys. Okay. Again, we don't need to by heart it, but we'll respect the discipline. We'll look at this. And what is this? Together, these three are referred as compilation. The first step is lexical analysis, where the tokenization, it's identifying different parts of it. Then it's building the tree. Then it is going ahead and generating the Python bytecode. This is referred as the compilation process. Now, after we compile, what happens is the Python bytecode is being given to another component called Python virtual machine. The Python virtual machine is referred as the interpreter. Python is not only a compiler, but also an interpreter. Compiler is something where we write a group of lines of code and then we execute it and we try to test and see if the program is working or not. Interpreter is one level advanced where it tells us you don't have to wait 30 or 50 lines of code. We don't have to write it. As we write one line of code, it will give us an indication and it will tell us, hey, if there is any problem in each line of code. So as a result of that, there is more productivity. So Python is not only acting as a compiler, it's also acting as an interpreter. So first, within the compilation, the 3 steps are happening. Then the interpretation is where the Python bytecode is getting converted to machine understandable bytecode, guys, okay? And the Python virtual machine is available in different versions, C, PyPy, and Jython. So these virtual machines have been written in Java, Python, and C. And the C Python is the most fastest and the most popular one. By default, we use, guys. We don't need to worry more about that other than that. So again, at a slightly high level, the Python, the English-like Python text that we write is getting compiled into Python bytecode. Python bytecode is getting converted into machine bytecode is something you need to keep in mind. Move a little ahead, let's see, and see where we are. Okay, so gentlemen, ladies, is it okay if we take a short 5-minute break? Take a glass of water, maybe you guys can just step out, breathe some air and come back. Every 1 hour, close to 1 hour, 40, 50 minutes, we'll take a short 5-minute break so that you guys are not... Okay, thank you guys. Please take a 5-minute break, we'll regroup and continue. Okay, guys, I'm back. Are you back, guys? Can you give me a quick yes, please? Pardon me, sorry about that. Thank you. Okay, so a little bit of a bit of theory, guys. Once in a lifetime, if we pay attention to this theory, I guess we don't need to revisit again and again. So let's give a little bit of respect to it. So now back to Python. Python is open source. Open source means it is free. General purpose. General purpose means it can work with big data. It can work with small data. It can work with medium size data. It can be used for generally for anything, guys. Anything and everything. That is what the general purpose refers. Most of the times it is high level and it is very high level. So there it is free is what is the open source advantage. Many of the other tools, the MATLAB, the SAS, of course, there are other things which are being used for analytics purposes. Those are very, very expensive and things like that, guys. So general purpose, you can analyze financial data. Financial analytics is the topmost thing which is getting a lot of attention in today's world. And we can build web-like applications and Windows-like applications. Also, we can also work with integrate with C, Java, and other kinds of programming languages, because that is what the general purpose refers to. We write much lesser code compared to other programming languages. What we write in 10 lines of code there, we will be able to write it in maybe 3 lines, maybe in 5 lines of code in Python generally has been a observation, guys. Okay, so there is Python. Python is like the engine. Now you can think Python is like the cricket. Jupyter is like the playground where we played the game called cricket, which is called Python. So Jupyter, the friendly mantra of Jupyter is it's a playground. And what do? We play a game. What is that game? That game is Python. Okay, the technical mantra of Jupyter is what is called a web IDE. It is a very, very simple web editor. And today, a lot of programming languages are getting integrated. So as a result of that, for enterprises, they are saving on what is called the licensing costs for purchasing the integrated IDs and things like that, guys. Okay, so again, there is Julia, R, and other programming. There are close to 10 or maybe 15 other programming languages which are getting integrated into Jupyter, because if we learn how to work with Jupyter, learning one language, we can run all other languages in a similar way. There is not much learning curve. That is one of the main advantages of Jupyter. So you may end up finding a lot of other developers in your team and your company requesting to find a Jupyter, install a Jupyter editor and things like that, guys. Okay. A little ahead, let's see. So again, notebook file. These the scripts that we end up writing are referred as notebook file. A notebook can be thought of as a group of Python programs. There it is again. So the text is where we write the markdown script. The code is our input cell. The output is the region where the code is getting executed and is showing the output. The output can be a visualization or a very, very complex calculation which is written in input will be shown in the output, guys. As simple as that. So Python plus Jupyter, you can think the friendly mantra of Anaconda is it's like a packaged car or it's like a stadium. A stadium is a place where you have many games being played. On one side there's cricket, and on the other side there's a badminton and maybe a tennis and things like that. So Anaconda is a group of tools. Each tool is like a separate playground where the programming languages are the games which are being played. And that one is one way to think of it, guys. Okay. Another friendly way to remember Anaconda is like a packaged car, and Python is the engine. Jupyter forms the rest of the part of the car. Is another way to visualize or remember it in a friendly way, guys. So that's a little bit of Python, a little bit of history here. Pardon me. Okay, let's see what we have here. Normal editor. No, VS Code is also very popular. In coming up days, we'll touch VS Code, Rahul. We'll start with Jupyter because Jupyter is much more simpler than VS Code. In VS Code, again, they gave you a Jupyter-like editor. Okay, Rahul. So let's see what we have here. Okay, so a little bit of history. Again, the godfather of Python, his name is Guido van Rosa. From Netherlands in early 90s, he wrote in a slightly friendly language, which he wanted it to be much more convenient, comfort, without writing, without much of stuff. He wanted to execute a few things, and he found Java and .NET to be a little bit more time consuming. So he came up with Python. It was named after Monty Python. It's a comedy group. So Python was not named after a snake. It was named after a comedy group, guys. Just an FYI. Open source, it is free. We just discussed it is not only a compiler, it's also an interpreter. And it is considered as a scripting language. You can think of it as a screwdriver. It can be used like a screwdriver. It is much more than that. It is scalable, which means you can work on small amounts of data, on big data. It is object-oriented, it is also functional-oriented, it is also procedural-oriented. In other words, you can use it like a screwdriver, a nail cutter, a hammer, a wrench, and other things is what it is, guys, okay? And Google was initially built on Python, guys. That is the popularity of Python. Later, I think they moved on to Go. But when they started, it was built on Python. And again, more jobs and things like that, but that's just an FYI. Okay, everybody okay with the slide, guys? Quick yes, please. Of a few popular companies which were again originally built on Python, and then I think in the later days maybe they moved on a few components of their websites and things like that. I'm sure most of you are aware of all these things and all these websites, guys. Okay. And we can use Python as a scripting language for image processing, data analytics. Python is a rock star, guys. Remember, artificial intelligence, Python is a rock star. One of the primary reasons is it is free. Everything is free in Python, especially in the world of AI and things like that, unless too much customization is needed. It is not very popular for building GUIs and things like that. Most of the times it is used in a server-side world. But we can also build some very powerful GUIs, both web-based and Windows-based. We can also connect to various kinds of databases, script system utilities. That's where your networking and all those other kinds of things come into place, okay? And internet scripting, again, that is nothing but the scripting. If you know Python, you are into scripting, guys, as simple as that, short and sweet. You're not only into scripting-oriented language, you're also into an object-oriented language. We'll also get a touch of those concepts in coming up days. Timeline, again, for sake of discipline, started somewhere in 90s with version 1.0. In 2000s, it was in 2.0. And in the 2000 later part of it, it is version 3.0. 3.0 is the current and the latest and the greatest version that most of the companies are relying, because most of the packages have been written in these things. So they would have more compatibility running the latest versions and things like that, guys, okay? Almost all the enterprises and the companies which are in Python 2, the official support for Python 2 has come to an end, I think, and they are migrating to Python 3.0, guys. Okay, now, before I go into a little bit of Python programming language, let me come back here. Give you a touch of few more stuff here. So take a look at this, guys, too. Can you take a guess what is happening here, guys? What is star indicate?
Power raised to.
2 cube, good. 2 cube, no, in other words, star is nothing but to the power of. You're raising it to the power of 3. Cool? As simple as that. And let's say a few more operations. Let's see if you're able to recall this, guys. Does 1.414 remind you of something?
Root.
Cool. So 2 to the power of 0.5 is nothing but the square root, 1.414. If you recall, square root of 3, right? 3 star 1 by 2, 1.732. We used to buy heart when we were in school and things like that. Cool. So there again, back to school. If you recall BODMAS, coming back to the picture, multiplication is happening followed by the addition. So 2 times 1000 is 2000, and plus 1 and plus 1 is coming to be 2002. Hope you guys are all okay with that. The same thing we can perform a different, we get a different result because of the brackets. So brackets, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction, word mass comes to your rescue. Hope everybody is okay. Quick yes, please. Cool. Okay, so 14 by 4, 3.5. And what is that? That's a pretty straightforward division, guys. But a slight deviation here. Take a look at this. If you say 14 // notice it only gives you the 3. It's truncating, or more precisely, it's truncating the decimal portion of the region of it. You only get 3 with a double slash. So this is referred as a true division. This is the true value, whereas this is like a classic division. We refer to this as a classic division. This is referred as a true division, guys. Okay, just a little bit of Python terminology here and there. Once in a while, a few people will be throwing these words at you. So just have a idea about that. Then again, that's a mod. There it is. That gives you the remainder. And now let's go into, so until now we've been looking at a few arithmetic and operations based on numerical data. Now here comes what is called textual data. Mera Bharat Mahan, what is slightly different here is, notice it is within the single quotes. In Python world, you get the textual data in single quotes. Then come here, repeat the same thing with Hamara Bharat Mahan. You can use single quotes, you can use double quotes, you can also use triple quotes. When you put something in single, double, or triple, you're telling Python, hey, this is not numerical data, this is textual data. Is one way to think of that, guys. Okay, I'll give you a much more friendlier explanation of that. But take a look at this. Namaste Bharat. If you just say, type in the text without the quotes, Python does not understand it. Python is giving you an error. In other words, it is forcing, we are forced to give the quotes. If you just put a hash here, you're telling Python, hey, this is not code, this is just a comment. Generally, when you're writing, imagine Sumit is writing some complex code, and tomorrow Shraddha is going to be looking at that code. And it is probably not really necessary to understand every line of code. So what will Sumit do? Sumit will give a brief explanation, maybe a 1 line, maybe a 2 line explanation, saying that, hey, Shraddha, if you look at this code, don't read the complete code. It might be confusing because there's a lot of business context behind it. Here is what briefly this code does. What is that? That is called a comment. When you put a pound or a hash sign, I'm sure since you guys are into admin world, you probably are looking at some scripting and things like that. Maybe hash is just like a comment in the Linux world. Here also it is acting like a comment. Everybody with me, guys? Quick yes, please. Okay, so take a look at this. Mera Bharat Mahan. This is just a description of this line of code. You can put it on the top, you can put it on the side. You're saying, hey, buddy, this is, I'm just describing, and this is what I'm doing here. So don't worry if you're getting too confused, and maybe at a later point of time, we may call a function a simple function or a complex function, or maybe a complex machine learning algorithm. You're just saying, just ignore what the algorithm is doing, just call this function and move on, is what we are giving a slight indication to our fellow colleagues and things like that, guys. Okay, so single quotes or double quotes are okay, but without quotes, Python will not understand. It will complain. Something to be kept in mind. So back to the basics. What is this? In a programming language world, the textual data is referred as a string. The technical mantra of textual data is called a string. And there is another friendly mantra which I'll explain you. So there is Namaste. Now take a look at this. Here is Mera Bharat Mahan. No problem. But take a look at this. Notice now, there's a small problem here. If you notice, Namaste is not getting printed, only Mera Bharat Mahan is getting printed. To be more precise, Mera Bharat Mahan is overwriting. Namaste is actually getting printed, guys, but what's happening is it is getting overwritten by the next line. So how do you prevent that? That's where a function print comes. When you say print, you're telling Jupyter, hey, don't overwrite it. Every line, print is printing in a separate line. So what is print doing? Print is printing. How? Print is printing in a separate line. So what is happening? It is preventing the overwriting. As simple as that. When you have multiple lines of code, we want to print. Maybe we want to log something. Some problem is happening, or maybe an important event is happening. You want to print. You don't want it to be overwritten. And things like that's when we will use a print. What is print? Print is a function. What is a function? A function is a group of lines of code. We'll discuss about that in a moment, guys. Everybody with me? Quick yes, please. Cool. Okay, so take a look at this. First innings, batsman is Sachin Tendulkar versus bowler, let's say Kapil Dev. So let's say maybe Shane Warne. Shane Warne passed away, guys. Shane Warne. I think SHAYNE, I think is Shane. We'll remember him so that he's wherever he is, he's slightly peaceful. SHAYNE, Shane Warne. So there it is, guys. First innings, batsman Sachin Tendulkar versus bowler Shane Warne. And what's happening? Shane to Sachin, and there's a 4. How does that look like? Guys? That looks like a cricket commentary. But what is the problem here, guys? What is the problem here? Just a friendly guess, no pressure. Sai, Humera. Okay, it's just getting overwritten, guys, as simple as that. Okay, so the same thing, let's say back to bowler, Shane, right? Change that to, let's say Kapil Dev to SHAYNE, Shane. Oops, Shane, is it WARNE or WAR? Shane Warne, like that, right? Are you guys into cricket? Just in case, let's say, put that there. Cool. Okay. So let's say print. We're just printing everything. We don't want it to be overwritten. We want the complete commentary, the complete result. So that is what is print. Print is printing in every line. Hope he's peaceful wherever he is, guys. I think he was smoking 100 cigarettes. Somebody told me he was playing around with smoking 100 cigarettes when he was having COVID or something like that. And I don't know what he was up to and things like that. I did not really understand the context, guys. I don't know if you read the news and things like that, but that's what I heard. But let's wish him some good, good things wherever he is. And it looks like a good guy. But I don't know. I haven't been much into cricket these days, guys. I'm into a little bit of badminton these days, not much into cricket. So I haven't been watching much of cricket, guys. So as simple as that, guys. Everybody okay so far? Quick yes, please. Okay with the print? Good. Let's see what else we have. Now take a look at this, guys. A slight this thing here. Print first innings, and then we're adding something here. Cool. So notice after every line, what we're doing is wherever we have a backslash and a special character, and a escape character is what we say, we're printing a new line. So backslash n is for printing explicitly a new line. It is referred as a new line in a computer science world. An escape character is also what we say, because wherever we see the backslash, we say that as an escape character, but more precisely a new line in a computer science world, guys. Okay. So after first innings, it's printing an empty line. And again, after Shane Warne here is printing an empty line, as simple as that. Cool. So now let's say, just to digest that a little bit more, let's say put this here, double backslash n. Let's say copy this one. Now take a look at this, guys. If you put double backslash n, you're telling Python you don't want to print an empty line, but you just want to print a backslash n. So to print a backslash n, you have to tell it print a backslash n. If you put 2 backslashes, you're telling Python you want this backslash n at the end. If you put only a single backslash n, then you're printing in a new line. That is referred as a new line. Again, slightly from a computer science world, I will ask you to manually remember. Here and there, few of them I will force you to remember from a computer science terminology and things like that. So that is referred as a new line. Cool, guys. Let's see what else I have. Again, that is nothing but comments. If you put a comment like that, notice you're telling Python, hey, this is not code. So what is the difference between code and texture, common description or text, guys? Code is something where the process of compilation and the interpretation is happening. The code is getting converted to Python bytecode. The Python bytecode is getting converted to machine level bytecode. Whereas when you put a hash, you're telling Python, hey, don't compile it. This is just a pure text. This is not meant for doing some complex processing and things like that. another perspective to be kept in mind. Cool. Okay. Let's see, first innings, batsman, again, we've seen that, Shane Warne to Sachin, we've seen that. Okay, so let's see, now take a look at this, guys. There's something different here. Here's first innings. Oops, do that. So copy this one, run it. So again, one more time, everything is getting overwritten. But what is happening in every line, we have a single line. We've seen that just a moment back, but now take a look at this. First innings, Sachin to Shane Warne, or maybe Shane Warne to Sachin. Oops. See if you can catch the difference. Catch it, guys. What is the difference, guys? Just a friendly question. What do you think is different here? So notice it's multiple lines of code and you're wrapping it around in a single code. What you do, Python is not accepting. As long as it is single line, you're wrapping it around with single quotes. Or maybe take a look at this. The same thing. Put a double here. Put a double here. Oops, one more time. Python will not accept. So what you do, will repeat that. So this time we'll put 2, 3, 3 quotes. So notice 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. Oops, 2, 3. Now notice Python accepts. What is it doing? It did not complain. It's not giving an error. In other words, what is this? This is multi-lines of code, multiple lines of code. Multiple lines of code. And what's happening? Python does not have a problem if you wrap it around with triple quotes. More precisely, if you're writing multiple lines of code, multiple lines of text actually. This is actually textual data. It's a string object, is what we call from a computer science standpoint. We'll discuss that. So we have multiple lines of text. And what is it? We can put a single quote like this, but that is too much of typing single quotes. What if you have 10 lines of code and every time you have to put a single quote here, there? It's a little slightly less productive. It's not complex, but slightly less productive. We'll take a shortcut, wrap it around three quotes. If you wrap and you can have 10 lines or 50 lines, what do? You don't have to type in too many of single quotes. Okay, you can also notice this one. We'll copy this one back here. Paste it here. Delete this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. Cool. Run it. Notice 3 single quotes or 3 double quotes. You can use both of them. You're telling Python, hey, I have multiple lines of text. You can put whatever you want and things like that. But if you observe slightly carefully, there's a small problem here. What is the problem? It is not a problem, but the problem is the \n. What's happening is every time you have the next line going on, Python is printing that. So what do? Well, let's try this one. Here is print. Notice what print does is it removes those unnecessary escape characters. So it's kind of formatting it, making it a little bit more pretty, as simple as that. Print removes unnecessary \. That's why we use a print. Everybody with me? Quick yes, please. Cool. So that is the story of it. And let's say print, there is print. Okay. So one more time, let's see, take a look at this. Here is coffee. What is coffee, guys? Coffee is textual data, as simple as that. Wrapped around single quotes, no problem. Then we have mixed quotes. Notice this problem now. What's the problem? Python does not understand when you use a combination of the quotes. Don't use single and double. Okay, what you do? Do the reverse. Python will complain. So how do you fix that, guys? Let's say here is Nescafe coffee. Nescafe coffee, no problem. If you're wrapping around with a single quote, no problem. And now take a look at this. One more time, Nescafe coffee. This time, the problem is we have 3 quotes. 1, 2, and 3. In other words, you want to put a single quote inside your text. So what do? Do the reverse. Don't use a single quote, but use a double quote. Wrap it around with a double quote. Notice no problem. Shraddha and Shri Shail. Are you getting it, guys? Quick yes, please. If you want to put a single quote, okay, you can also do the reverse, which is put this here. You can put a double quote in between. If you want to put a double quote in between, wrap it around with a single quote. But let's say, take a look at this, guys. Here is Nescafe coffee. So now take a look at this. What we have is, we have one double quote here, one single quote here, and we are wrapping around with single quotes. Notice it will give you a Python will give you an error. Python will not understand it. So what do? We say, copy this one. 2, 3, back to beginning, 2, 3. And now notice no problem. It is allowing you. The single quote, of course, it is giving as a backslash. I don't know why it doesn't put a double backslash here, but anyway. So in other words, it's allowing us a single quote and a double quote, but what you do, you wrap it around with 3 quotes. Quickest, please. Cool. So there's another example, just for sake of discipline. I'll quickly run that. She said, thank you, it's mine. That's a problem. What do? Repeat this, double quote, and delete that and a double quote. Give you an error. So what do? Repeat that with 2, 3, 2, 3, no problem. What do? The same thing. Give it to print. It removes the unnecessary escape characters. Just another example, guys. So what is print? Print is printing, as simple as that. Nothing much there. Cool. It's mine, Namaste, Mera Bharat Mahan. There's a little bit of patriotism. Hamara Bharat Mahan and things like that. So notice again one more time. It's a good one. A combination of double and single quotes appearing in random order. In some places we have double quotes, in some places we have mix and match of double and single, and Python does not complain. Why? Because we're wrapping it around in a triple quote. Cool. Quickest, please. Cool. Okay, gentlemen, ladies. So that is a quick touch of some basic numerical data and a little bit of textual data. Let's go a little bit deep into these things. I'm going to take you to the next chapter, guys. So let's see what that means. Variables. What is variables? Variables are nothing but objects. What are objects? Objects are like cups. And what is that? Let's try to understand that. So variables are objects. They have reserved memory, means they have memory. They are taking memory in your RAM of your computer. What are we doing? We are storing them in the RAM, or Python is storing it in the RAM. Imagine Sumit is a person. Sumit has a brain. In his brain, he is storing the pictures of many people. He has a picture of different kinds of people. What is he doing? He's using his brain. What is brain? Brain is like the RAM. And the RAM is storing some images, is what it is. Now declaring command, this is what we mean by telling it is dynamic. You don't need to tell that something is integer or something is string or things like that in a Python word. And we'll see what that is. So take a look at this. S equals to Python. What is it? This is how we create a variable. S equal to Python. So S is called the variable name or the object name. Python is a value inside it. Okay. X and Y, age, camera, total volume. So notice all of them are starting with a capital. They can start with a small letter or a capital letter. The letter or underscore, you can have something start. So let's say, come back here, take a look at this. Here is Nescafe coffee. Come back here. Nescafe coffee is starting with a small n, no problem. Capital N, no problem. Here is underscore, no problem. And behind the scenes, what is Python doing, guys? Visualize something like this is going on. Visualize this is your laptop. Let's say inside your laptop, we have some RAM. And what is Nescafe? Let us say Nescafe. Let's choose this one. Here is, we created a cup. Inside this cup, we're storing some coffee. Let's put coffee. And what is the name of this cup? We'll call this as, let's say, Nescafe. So visualize in a slightly friendlier Friendly manner. Behind the scenes, when we say Nescafe equals to coffee, it is creating a cup and putting a content inside that. The content is the coffee. This is coffee. The name of the cup is Nescafe. So what is the cup? The cup is an object. Then object is called a variable. The technical mantra in a programming or a computer science world, we call that as an object or a variable. More precisely in a Python world, guys. Again, in other programming languages, there is a slight difference between variable and an object, but we don't have to go there. But in a Python world, a variable is an object is a friendly mantra of an object is a cup. And what is the cup? What does the cup have? The cup has coffee. You can also, few more rules to be kept in mind. It cannot start with a number, which means you cannot say Nescafe, let's say 1 Nescafe equals to coffee, it will give you an error. You cannot have your object name starting with number. And let's see what else we have. Only alphanumeric. You can say Nescafe, let's say 1. That is alphanumeric, no problem. Then case sensitive. So in other words, let's say here is Nescafe is coffee. And let's say here is another Nescafe with a capital N. Is, let's say, cappuccino. Notice no problem. So if you say, what is a Nescafe? Notice shift enter is what I'm using, guys. Shift enter is what you want to keep in mind. It says you have coffee inside it. And if you say Nescafe, it has cappuccino inside it. So in other words, if you come back here, there is Nescafe, and which is 1 cup. And here is a capital N. This is a different cup. This has, let's say, capital C, cappuccino. So it is case sensitive. If you create a Nescafe with a small n and a capital N, it's storing it as 2 different objects. So it's giving them as, storing them as 2 different cups is something to be kept in mind. Cool. Then it is not defined. So again, for, while, elif, and things like that, these are some words which are reserved by Python. Python reserved words are something like if you go into the world of cricket, imagine Sumit has joined a cricket team and he likes cricket very much. What are some of the reserved words in cricket? Bat, ball, wickets. These are some of the reserved words which are used by the cricket. So imagine he falls in love with in cricket and says, hey, I want to change my name to bat or ball. Imagine Kajal is the team of the captain or captain of the team. Kajal says, hey, no, if you want, you name yourself Salman Khan or Shah Rukh Khan, no problem. But don't name yourself as bat and ball because that is reserved. Everybody will get confused. So Python has some reserved words such as for, while, else if, and things like that. We'll also touch them in the coming good days, guys. Okay. Everybody okay so far? Quick yes, please. Everybody okay with this slide? Cool. Okay. Then you have the teacups and the coffee cups. The age and the address, guys. Okay. Let's say, come back here. Let's see a few more examples before I go there. Name is Sachin. That is textual data. So notice 2 lines of code. When I define name as Sachin or Nescafe as coffee, I don't need to write it another line of in another cell. I can execute them in the same cell. So here is, oh, sorry. Okay. Anyway, as simple as that, I was just going to say name is Sachin. Age is 23. Now notice a subtle difference between age and name. Age is numeric data. We can think of the textual data. Sachin is textual data. 23 is numeric data. What is that? The technical mantra is the textual data is string. From a computer science or a programming standpoint, we call that as a string. And the numeric data, we call that as an integer. Okay, a slightly friendly way, we'll call them as coffee cups versus teacups. Coffee cups is your textual data, teacups is your numerical data. Age is a teacup or a numerical data here, guys. Okay, take a look at this type of name. Type of name is a string, string is a coffee cup. So what is type? Type is telling it is a data type. What is a data type? A data type tells you whether something is tea or coffee. What is tea? Tea is numeric data, coffee is textual data. That's another thing that I will ask you to manually remember, guys. What is type? Type is a built-in function. These are all some of the functions which are available in Python is what it means, guys. Okay. So say type of age. It says it's an int. An int is an integer. Integer is nothing but a data type, and the friendly mantra of integer is teacups. Friendly mantra of string is coffee cups is what we'll say. Shraddha, are you getting it, guys? Everybody, can you give me a quick yes, please? Okay, so for the sake of discipline, try to print name and age. It will give you an error. What do? Use print. If you want to print, if you want to see both, use both of them. As simple as that. Here is radius equal to 3. It's a numeric data. Numeric data is teacups 3.14. So you say, what is the type? It says integer, but here is pi. You say, what is your type? It will say it's float. Okay, so what is happening is, so visualize for a moment. Let's say, snap this one. Put this here. Type radius equal to 3. So there is 3, that is an integer. Then we have float. This is another cup with content inside it, and that says it's a float. So what is this? Visualize something like this, guys. Visualize, we have T. Here's T. So I think what I'll do is, I'll use this one. Here's T. In T, what is T? T is numeric data. In T, we have two kinds of T. One is green tea. This is green tea. And then we have ginger tea. This is ginger tea. So more precisely, we'll change this to green tea. Okay, remember, all teas are not green tea, but all green teas are tea. Similarly, all teas are not ginger tea, but all ginger teas are tea. So what does that mean? What it means is, choose this, come here. We'll call T is the numeric data. We'll say green tea is integer, which is non-decimals. Non-decimal. They are not decimal. And then we have ginger tea, which is nothing but the float. They are float and they are the decimals. So numeric data we have green teas and ginger tea. The green teas are non-decimals. Radius is non-decimal, pi is a decimal here. So one is integer. Python calls this as an integer in a friendly way. We call that as a green tea. And Python calls this as a float. In a friendly way, we're calling that as a float. And what are they? Both of them are teas. And remember, all green teas are tea. All ginger teas are tea. But all teas are not green tea nor ginger tea. What is tea? Tea is numeric data. What is coffee? Coffee is textual data. Everybody with me? Quick yes, please. Cool. Gentlemen, ladies, are you with me? Okay. So again, area of a circle, back to school, pi r square, just performing a slightly friendly calculation. Pi r square. You multiply and that 2 stars is nothing but you're raising it to the power. So what is this? Python, we can do simple operations like that. We can use Python like a calculator. You can use Python like a bullock cart, like a cycle. Then you can use it like a scooter, a bike. You can also use it like a car and a helicopter and a rocket. These are more sophisticated algorithms. The world of the deep learning and the AI world is what the deep learning, rocket is like the deep learning world, helicopter is like the machine learning world, the complex algorithms and things like that, guys, okay? So in other words, Python is used for everything, anything, right from simple stuff to more complex things. And more importantly, more precisely, we're writing just a few lines of code. That's what is important about the Python, guys, okay? So back to type. Type is nothing but it's telling you, hey, it's textual data is string. Then you have type of 1. Notice now, gentlemen, ladies, notice when you wrap the 1 around single quotes, you're telling Python that's a textual data, that's like a string object. Okay, but you do the same thing without quotes. It says it's an integer. Integer is numerical data is teacup. And it is without decimal, so it is green tea. String is textual data is coffee cups. So we have teacups and coffee cups going on here. Quick yes, please. Cool. So there is Mera. What is Mera? Mera is the name of the object, and Mera Bharat is the content inside the cup. Object is a cup, you have Mera Bharat inside the cup. Then you have Mahan, another object name and another object content. So what we are doing is ID. What is ID? Take a look at this. ID is, if you say ID, It gives you a number. This is like an address ID. This is where Python, somewhere in the RAM, when you create an object, it's creating an object in your RAM guys, at a slightly hardware level. So it has some number and address in your RAM. That is what that is. So what is ID? ID is giving the name of the object. Again, it is something once in a while you will see that using. So you just need to have an idea, guys. Okay. So back to Nescafe. Now notice here, guys, when you create an object like this, again, what is happening is we created a cup. Oops, let's say I come here. Visualize, we created a cup and we have put Nescafe inside it. So what is the problem is we have not given a name. If you don't give a name, the problem is we cannot reuse that one. It is unnecessarily taking the space. If you create one or two objects, it's okay. But in the world of data analytics, in the world of big data, cloud computing and things like that, you're dealing with hundreds, thousands and millions of objects. Every record, every column name that you're retrieving that is traveling around in your network from the cloud and things like that is an object that it is taking up the memory. So it is always a good idea when you create an object, you give a name to it. Okay, guys. So there is Nescafe, here is coffee. Two objects we have not given name. What do we do? Well, we can put them together. Nescafe and coffee. So if we come back here, put this here. So ideally what is happening here is we created first cup Nescafe. And what Python is doing is it's creating another cup called coffee. And when you say Nescafe coffee, it's creating a totally a new cup. Let's use this one. So it is not that it is only one cup. There are 3 cups which are getting created in this process. So that is just a slightly computer science understanding that everything is a different object here is what I'm trying to convey, guys. No? Everybody okay? Quick yes, please. Cool. Okay. Take a look at this, guys. Nescafe coffee. A subtle difference is the plus. The plus is a concatenation operator. What it is doing is it's when you use a plus, you notice that there is a space here, but there is no space here. So Nescafe coffee has become one word without a space. What we can also do is a little basics here. Oops, come here. Oops. Print. Nescafe coffee. So print is just printing it, but it just doesn't, it's just, printing it in a slightly more neat and clean way is what it is. And now take a look at this, guys. Nescafe and coffee, and use the print, the comma is also acting like a concatenation operation. What is special about comma is if you give one coffee cup here, another coffee cup, it by default puts a space. When it is concatenating or joining two objects, it's separating them by a space is what is slightly different. Catching the point, guys. Quick yes, please. Good. Okay, that is again something to be familiar. Both of them are concatenation operators. The comma doesn't allow us to, allows us to put a space. So again, coffee. So what is coffee here, guys? Notice, coffee is the name of the object on the left-hand side. It has Nescafe coffee. When you use a plus, we need to force ourselves. We can just put a comma there. Don't force yourself to put a, so let's say come here. Space, use a comma. Oh, sorry. Oh, my bad. This is tuple. Okay. I won't dare to explain that one now. We have not touched the tuple. So we'll say, hey, Nescafe. So maybe I should, let's see if I can just for sake of discipline. If I say tuple like this, let's see what happens. I won't go into tuples now. We are not there, not yet there. We're still in the slightly earlier stages than talking tuples, guys. So I come, oops, come down here. Put that back here. Put that back here. Put the space. I'll leave it there. So this coffee is the name of your object. Name of your cup is what you keep in mind, as simple as that. And you say, hey, what is your type? You're asking it. You're telling it, hey, give me, what are you? Oh, sorry. Come here. What are you? Well, I'm a string. I'm a string means it's a textual data. Textual data means it's a coffee cup. That's what it means. What is data types, guys? Data type is something where you're trying to understand whether something is numeric data versus something is textual data. Okay, so numbers are numeric data. Then we have strings, which is textual data. Then we have trace, lists, tuples, dictionaries. These are slightly advanced data types that we'll be discussing in the coming up days, guys, okay? So what is type? Type is a function. It's a built-in function which is telling you whether something is a teacup or a coffee cup, okay? And integers is green tea, float is ginger tea. Then we can have complex. The algorithms, the machine learning algorithms, the deep learning algorithms that the artificial intelligence world uses, they're referred as complex data types, is what it is, guys, okay? If time permits, we'll have a touch of that in coming up days, guys. But let's say strings are textual data. Their group of characters is what it is. It is nothing but text in a computer science world. We call that as a string. You can use a single quote or a double quote. And it's as simple as that. Everybody okay? Quick yes, please. Cool. Data types, again, data types built-in functions. Print is just printing, and functions and arguments, we'll talk about them. Okay. We can also convert the data types, guys. You can convert a teacup to a coffee cup and a coffee cup to a teacup, and return objects. Okay, functions, we have not yet come to the functions, but we'll see that, guys, okay? So float is, the friendly mantra is, it's a ginger tea. Integer is a green tea. String is a coffee cup. We can convert them, any of these things, into other data types. We'll see that. Operators, what is operators? Used for manipulation. The plus is an operator, multiplication, all these things are operators. We have different kinds of operators. Back to school, maybe back to basics of computer science. If you're coming from a non-computer science background also, it's okay. But these are arithmetic operations, arithmetic operators, okay? And here is the Booleans. Another data type is a true and a false. We discussed about the teacup and the coffee cups. Here comes the cool drinks. The true is the thumbs up and false is the phantom. They're called the Booleans operators. Then you have the comparison, equal to, greater than, equal to, and things like that. Back to school, back to college, and things like that. I'm sure you guys are familiar with what they mean and things like that, guys, okay? So when we say equals to 9, A is the name of the object or the cup. This is called assignment operator. You're putting a 9 inside a cup called an A. We're putting coffee inside a cup called Nescafe, is what we have done earlier. That is, the equal to here is referred as an assignment operator. You're creating, you're assigning is what it is. And or not, we'll discuss about them. Logical operators and things like that. So let's say, back here. So take a look at this, guys. Type Nescafe plus, what do we have? Nescafe plus Nescafe plus Nescafe. You try to do something like that, you're printing Nescafe 3 times. Okay, let's say you want to print it, let's say 10 times. You could do that. Oops, come here. You can do that, no problem. But what if you want to have to print 100 or maybe 1,000 or 1 million times? Well, that's a problem. What can you do? Use number. Say 3 times Nescafe. Nescafe is getting printed 3 times. If you want to print it 30, 300 or maybe 1,000 times, you can just change the number. What is it? That's like a shortcut. We are multiplying a teacup with a coffee cup. And what is it doing? It is ending up printing the coffee cup that many times. Something to be kept in mind. None of these need to be by heart, done by heart, guys. When you go back to your desk and things like that, just sit there, just during your free time, just go ahead and review them, have a look at them, and just kind of be familiar with them. If time permits, try to practice them. That will be helpful for you guys, okay? So notice this one. 3 times Nescafe plus coffee is like Nescafe, Nescafe, coffee. Sounds like somebody wants a Nescafe coffee very badly. Here is pizza and daddy. This is what my daughter used to say when she was little. If she heard the word pizza and she wants pizza, she'll say pizza, 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 daddy. That's how she used to say, guys. Okay, the kids, of course, they love the pizza. I'm sure we all do when we especially stay long and things like that during our work hours and so on, guys. Okay, everybody okay so far? Quick yes, please. Good. Okay, so going a little bit into it. Sentence, Mera Bharat Mahan. The sentence is the name of the object or the cup. Let's see what else is different. We're putting some spaces around, trying to make it a little bit more complex. So, Mera Bharat Mahan. And now here comes a replace. Replace is like a function. Mera is getting replaced with Hamara Bharat Mahan. In other words, more precisely, let's say, come back here. header. I'll remove the toolbar here just to save some real estate. Snap it. This here. This here. So let's see, sentences, Mera Bharat. Okay, so this is one cup, guys. This is a different cup. And then again, we renamed it to a different cup here with a few more spaces. Choose this one. When you say replace, guys, more replace Mera with Hamara, what is happening is a new cup is getting created, is what I'm saying. But how do you know a new cup is getting created? Let's verify. If you say, notice sentence, notice it's still Mera Bharat Mahan. In other words, what replace has done, guys, is something like this. Visualize this. Let's say here is sentence. Let's get rid of this one. Sentence was Mera Bharat Mahan. When you say replace, so what it did was it copied this one, it pasted it here. Okay. So the original one is there, it pasted it here. And what's happening? In this one, the Mera has been replaced with Hamara. That is what is happening. That is how Python is doing. Why is this important? A little bit from a computer science standpoint. When we modify textual data, Python is not modifying the same cup, but it is always copying and pasting. What is that? That is called immutability in a computer science world. Again, you guys don't need to worry too much, but if you hear it once or twice, it will be helpful for you. Everybody okay? Nitesh, Sumit, are you okay, buddy? Cool. Okay, take a look at this. As the name suggests, oops, come here. Lower, it's converting everything to lower. And if you now say, what is sentence? Notice it's still Mera Bharat Mahan with the original. So whenever we are using these functions or methods, there's a subtle difference between function and a method, guys. We'll talk about that in the coming updates. For now, think of them as the same. When we call the function or the method, what's happening is it's creating a new cup. It is taking the cup, copying it, pasting it, and modifying the pasted cup is what I want you to visualize that. Upper, as the name suggests, everything should get converted to upper. Mera Bharat Mahan is what it is. Cool. Okay. So now take a look at this. Back to 7. Numeric data. Ask Python what is 7. If you say type, it will say, hey, it's numeric data, it's integer, integer is green tea. Wrap it around double quote, that is textual data. It says it's a string. It's no longer treated as numeric data. We just discussed about it a moment back. Okay, sorry about that. So gentlemen, ladies, let's take a short 5-minute break so that I don't stress you out. Everybody okay with that? Okay, sorry about that, guys. Are you guys back? Can you give me a quick yes, please? Cool. Okay. So there it is, guys. Python has various types of numbers, and 2 minus 2 are whole numbers back to school. They are the ones which are without decimals. Those are called integers. If you have decimals, then we call them as float, and they can be positive or negative. Okay, move a little ahead. So in the world of Python 2.0, there was something called a classic division versus a true division. In Python 2.0, if we were to do 3 divided by 2, we will only get 1. We will get 1, but not 1.5. Okay, so we needed to explicitly do a 3.0 by 2, or maybe a 3 divided by 2.0 to get a true value of 1.5. That was referred as a classic division. The slash was referred as a classic division. And so in other words, we need to explicitly give the decimals either in the numerator or the denominator, or we need to convert it. That is again more from an interview standpoint, here and there. A few people just play around with the people to see if they have an idea of this classic division and true division is what it is, guys. Okay. And let's see what else we have. Back here. Okay, so again, the future module that was more of a Python 2.0 concept, we don't need that one right now, right? So we can, strings again are nothing but the textual data. They are a sequence, they are a group of characters. So hello is a group of characters where each letter is a character, and they're in a particular sequence. So it's referred as a sequence, guys, okay? Later we will use the for loops to loop through a string, and we'll try to understand that. And a print in Python 3 is a function. A function is a group of lines of code. A statement is a single line of code, is what you can think. A future module we don't have, we'll not worry. String indexing. So if we have, we'll go back to a string here. Let's say, okay. So take a look at this, guys. Here is Nescafe. Nescafe equals to coffee. If you say, what is Nescafe? It'll give you coffee. But if you say Nescafe 0, you'll get C. And let's say, copy this. Nescafe 1 will give you O. In other words, these letters are in the sequence of 0, 1, 2, 3, and things like that. So in other words, Python is a zero-based index. It is based on zero-based index. So each one we are able to access in a sequence, so it is also referred as a sequence. You can access the characters in a sequence one after one, is what it is. That is what it refers to, guys. So again, that is just something to, just an FYI. We'll talk more about this in the coming updates, just to get a slightly more deeper understanding. But notice the way we are accessing it is we are using square bracket, not a normal bracket. This is called indexing. We can also get a part of it, extract a slice of it. So let's say Nescafe of 1:4. We get OFF. So 1 refers to O because 0 refers to C. Then comes 1, 2, 3, 4. So what is this? This is called subsetting. This is called indexing, slicing and dicing and things like that is what it is, guys. Okay. We have a few more examples. As I said, I'll go back and refer to them. And it's immutable. String is immutable means when we try to change a string, the string is not changing. Python is not changing the existing coffee cup. It is creating a new coffee cup. So let's say back to Nescafe. So notice this. One more time. Here is Nescafe. It has coffee. Now you say Nescafe plus sunrise. Notice what's happening is coffee sunrise. When you add something to the coffee cup is not getting changed, but a new coffee cup is getting created. So if you go back and look at Nescafe, that is still coffee. Okay, what is that? That is called immutability. Immutability means once a string or a textual data or a coffee cup is created, Python doesn't change it. It always creates a new one. It is copying it, pasting it, and changing it to a new one. More from a computer science standpoint, that is something to be kept in mind. Quick yes, please. Everybody okay with that? Okay, then this is a slightly the next level one, but let's see if we have a few more examples. 7 and string of 2. Okay, let's do a little bit of playing around. 7 and 2, both of them are wrapped around in single quotes. So that becomes 72, whereas 7 plus 2 is actually 9. Numeric data versus textual data, guys, okay? Because they're wrapped around in single quotes, it is treating it as you're adding 2 coffee cups. If you add 2 coffee cups, you get a 72, which is another coffee cup. Whereas 7 plus 2 here is numerical data. Notice it's also in green color. So 2 is numerical data. Now notice this, guys. Here is 2. If you say str, string of 2, str is a built-in function. It is converting 2 to textual data. You can convert teacups to coffee cup like this. What is string? String converts anything to coffee cup. You can also say string of, str of, let's say 2.0. That is also getting converted if it is wrapping it in the form of a double quotes. So there it is again. Here is 7. 7 is textual data. You're multiplying with 2, you get 2 sevens. Whereas without that one, you get 40 because that is numerical data. So just digesting what is teacup versus what is a coffee cup, guys. Okay. And we have already discussed a little bit about plus. So let's say x is 3. You ask Python, what is string of x? It will convert it to 3. What is x? X is 3. Everybody okay? Quick yes, please. I'm just trying to increase the complexity a little bit. So here is y equals to 5. And say, hey, what's in y? It will say it's 5. But what shall we do? We'll concatenate it. The sum of x plus y. Wonder why it took so long. Sum of x plus y. Type error. Can only concatenate string. So in other words, it's not even concatenating, guys. What's happening is, this is a coffee cup. This is textual data. We're trying to convert, we're trying to concatenate it, join it with x. X is a teacup. So what should we do? Notice, you can take a coffee cup and add it to a coffee cup. You cannot add it to a teacup. You can multiply it with a teacup, but you cannot add it with a teacup. You have to convert it to a coffee cup. And notice this will work. But the problem is, it is the plus will not put a space. So what we are doing is, okay, so we'll hard code the space here. So here we are hard coding the space. There is also called something called format and F strings. We'll discuss about them. We're just hard coding the space. Here I did not have a space. So here I'm explicitly hard coding the space so that it is easy to read and things like that. Okay, yes, I will not worry about this one now. Okay, so let's see, back to the Boolean operators, true and false. True is your thumbs up, the friendly mantra. False, notice the moment I type in false, it becomes green color, bold color. If you see something is green and bold, Jupyter is telling, hey, this is a reserved keyword. It is something special, something used by Python is what it means, guys. That's what is an indication Jupyter is giving. So let's take someone, somebody who's a batsman but not a bowler. Is he an all-rounder? Let's see, what is that? Well, you're using and. That's like, hey, he's a batsman and a bowler, it's giving a false, which means he's not an all-rounder. For someone to be an all-rounder, you need to be both a batsman and a bowler is what it is, guys. In other words, again, notice and, green color, and notice in bold, which means it is a reserved keyword used by Python. So and means the left and right hand side have to be true, then only it will give you a true. Back to a little bit of school and things like that, if you recall. So here's another one. He's a bowler, but he's not a batsman. So that will also, he's not an all-rounder, he's just a bowler there. Okay, but here is somebody who's batsman and bowler. And what is he? Well, we'll see if he's an all-rounder. He's an all-rounder, yes. Somebody who's into batting and bowling is an all-rounder. So and requires both left-hand side and right-hand side to be true. As simple as that. Quick yes, please. Okay, let's see. Somebody is neither into batting nor into bowling. Is he a lazy guy? Well, if you're not doing batting and bowling, are you a lazy guy? No. So both of them are false. False and false are not are the same, but and doesn't give you a true for that. That's what this is about. If both of them are true, and is giving you true. If both of them are false, and is not giving you a true, it's still giving you a false. So only when both of them are true, it gives you a true. Is something to be kept in mind, guys. Okay. So let's say here is let's say Shri Shay. I think I don't know if that's a boy or girl. Let's say Rahul. Take a boy's name. He's getting ready for marriage, and they're looking for a girl. And let's say his mom or dad comes and says, "Hey, we found a girl. She has long hair. She's fair. Will you marry?" What will you do, man? Will you marry a girl who has long hair and fair in color? Yes or no? Rahul, are you there? What about the other boys? Will you marry a girl who has long hair and fair in color? Yes or no? Talk to me. Shouldn't be a tough question. Rahul says no. Bad boy. Why, buddy? Come online, explain why you're saying no. Long hair, you don't like long hair? You don't like fair color? Aniket is smiling, he's laughing, he's blushing, isn't he? He's ready, isn't he? So we'll take that as a yes for Aniket. Huh? So let's say, and he's saying true. This is probably Aniket. Rahul is not looking for a long-haired girl, or maybe Rahul is already married, so let's not bother him. But let's say Aniket says he wants a long hair and a fair girl, fair in color. Guys, huh? Let's see what else we have. Okay, here's another girl. No long hair, no fair in color. And let's say, give it to Rahul. He says false. No, she's fair in color. She's fair in color, but she doesn't have a long hair. Still, he says a false. Anybody wants to say true? So, and again, is at work. No long hair, not fair in color. Will you marry? So here's another requirement. Let's say that is Aniket is saying, I want both long hair. So this is definitely Aniket, because he was smiling when it was here, guys. Where is he? Here, when he had a long hair and a fair in color, he was smiling. He's saying, ha, 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 isn't he, guys? Whereas here, it's a false, means this is Aniket. And come to Rahul. Rahul said false here for both of them. Okay, let's see what else we have, guys. Go a little bit deep. Long hair, fair, no long hair, not fair in color. And now here comes or. So this is somebody who's saying, give me at least one. Long hair or fair in color. If you don't have either of them, he is also rejecting. So false, guys. Or, here we are bringing the or into the picture. Another girl comes, she has long hair but not fair. Let's see what this does. Who wants to? Who's this? Let's see who else we have here, guys. Back to participants. Any young boys here? Let's see, I had the participants here, right? Anyone unmarried? Where is that? Where are they? 1 year cloud computing, Moin is 4 years. You guys are all young only. Probably, I don't know how many of you are married. Okay, I'll say that. But somebody is asking for at least, give me one. So fair is not important, but looks like long hair is important for this guy. Back to cricket. Cricket, he's into batting, he's into bowling, he's also into badminton. Who is he? He's a super sport, guys. Now we should ask the girls if they'll marry them. Let's see. So another alliance comes to picture. Long hair, fair in color, tall. Oh, somebody is looking for tall. Well, would you call that a super marriage? Yes or no? True or false? If somebody has long hair, fair in color, and she's tall, would that be a super marriage, guys? That is Sai. Sai is looking for someone like that. Bad boy. You want long hair, you want fair, you also want tall girl. Nah? You should be very tall then. But let's see what we have here. Long hair, no long hair, not fair in color, not tall. Now here's a tough question coming up, guys. Something is true. Something is true. And that is referred as a truly super marriage. So fill in the blank. The girl is not fair. The girl is not long. The girl does not have long hair, not fair, not tall. But something is true about her. So what is this true? She is rich. Bad boy. Aniket is another very bad boy. He's going for money, isn't he? Anything else, guys? Let's see this. He says, he's saying, hey, give me a rich girl. He thinks it's a super marriage. Any other thoughts? Other than rich, what else it could be? Thoughts, talk to me. Girls, talk to me. How many girls are there? Smart. Okay. Shubham wants a smart girl. I'll give you a minute here. Any other thoughts, guys? How about, let's say, oops. Hey, there you go. A good heart, a loving heart. How about that, guys? Cool. That's a truly super marriage, isn't it, guys? No, she doesn't have long hair, nor fair, nor tall, but at heart she's good. That's like a, I'm going to stop there. It's Women's Day. And that's a truly super marriage. Agree with me, guys? Are you all good boys or bad boys? Let's see who agrees with me. None of them are agreeing. Looks like all of them are bad boys here, aren't they? All right, now take a look at this. No long hair. She's not rich, but she's good heart. Another condition. She's not even rich, and she has a good heart. That also is truly a super marriage, guys. Okay, when boys look for girls like that, and vice versa, of course, when girls look also for something like that, that becomes a truly super marriage. Huh? Cool. Let's see what else we have. That's what we said. It's a good heart. And now take a look at this. Just before we go, here is ego. Ego is false, which means somebody doesn't have ego. So not ego. Not ego is true. What is not? Not is a opposite. Cool. So no ego. We should have pride, but not ego, guys. Ego is killing everyone today. Whether it is a country or a marriage or anything and everything, that's what is killing everybody. It's really something. Okay, anger is another one. Anger is false. So somebody with less anger, what shall we do? We'll send him to Aniket. He was looking for a rich girl, isn't he? So we'll give him somebody which. No, take a look at this. How do you define what is good heart? Well, somebody with no ego and no anger. If you're getting ready, if your people are looking for alliances at your home, look for somebody who has less anger and less ego. But the question is, how do you find that, isn't it, guys? And that will really be helpful for you. Not just for a day. Beauty may help for a day, but a heart will help for a life, isn't it, guys? What is good heart? Good heart will make a good family, and a good family is a true family. Yeah, I can write some much more detailed stuff with using knots and things like that. So what is it? That is what we mean by Python is easy to read. When you say no ego, no anger, not ego, no, I can write it in the form of if, while, and things like that, and orchestrate it and make it look like English-like text and things like that, guys. Okay, cool. So that is a little bit of trues and false and operators, Boolean operators. Trues and false. True and true always will give you true. And if you have one of them as false, hopefully you're familiar. It will give you a false. False and true will give you false, because false and false. So remember, it needs to be true and true. Then only it will give you true. Otherwise, and will give you false for every combination. Or is much more kinder. Any one of them true, it will give you true. And there's false or true. But if both of them are false or false, notice it's giving you false. I'm going a little fast here. but hopefully that should not be too difficult, I'm hoping, but feel free to let me know. That's so true because we have at least one true sitting there and or is slightly kinder and giving us a true. Everybody okay with that? Quick yes, please. Okay. So that is the secret to win a boy's heart and a girl's heart, guys. They're looking for good heart, have less ego, have less anger. Whether you look at a Bollywood movie, a Hollywood movie, or a Mahabharata or a Ramayana is up to you. Keep those things low. Whatever helps you, keep those things low. You'll have a good heart, you'll have a good family. Hey, welcome to Python class. Hope you guys are having some fun, guys. Okay, okay, gentlemen, ladies. Move to the next topic. Lists and see what we have. Okay, list can be thought of as the most general version of a sequence in Python. That's a slightly technical and a formal statement. We'll try to simplify that. Unlike strings, they're mutable, which means they are changeable. A string is immutable. Okay, you can think of a list like a tray of cups. A coffee cup is a coffee cup, is a single cup. A teacup is a single cup, whereas list is like a tray of cups. A tray in which you can have coffee cups or teacups is what is list, in which you can have textual data and numerical data. And the elements inside the list can be changed. You can, if you have a coffee cup, you can change it to a teacup. If you have a teacup, you can change it to a coffee cup. A string, a coffee cup, if you change it, it is Python is creating a new cup. It is not changing an existing cup. That is more from a computer science or a programming standpoint. That's slightly to be kept in mind. Whereas a tray in which you have coffee cups or teacups, you can change them, is what they are saying. We will use the square brackets to construct them. Say, go a little further, see what we have. Okay, list methods, they have no fixed size. They are like arrays, they are much better, they are more flexible than arrays. If you have an idea of arrays and coming from a .NET or a Java background, arrays are also like trays with same cups. We also have arrays here, guys, we'll discuss about them. But a list is much more like an array list in Java and a .NET world. And you don't have to specify the size of the type. You don't have to say, hey, I'm going to have the teacups or coffee cups is what it is about, guys. And we'll see an example. You can also have a tray inside a tray. A great feature of Python data structures is they support nesting. Nesting means a tray inside a tray. This is nothing but data structures inside data structures. And they're also sequential. You can access these cups in a sequence, sequential order. Anything which can be accessed in a sequential order is referred as a sequence in the Python world. Then we have tuples, exchange, and string. We'll talk about them one by one in coming up days. Python supports several of these things, guys. Okay, these are slightly similar objects, but with the subtle differences between each other. But we'll save them for the coming up days. So list is a container. Container is like a tray. It holds a number of objects. The objects can be textual data, numerical data, or teacups or coffee cups. The list type implements the sequence protocol, which means they can be accessed. The elements or the items inside them can be accessed sequentially. And the list is an ordered set. They're in an order, so it is called an ordered set. And so here is a sequence, guys. Okay, it is a basic data structure. They are indexable. Index means you can access them. So Python is zero-based index. The data structures are zero-based index. They don't start with 1, 2, 3. They start with 0, 1, 2, 3. There are different kinds of built-in types: lists, tuples, dictionary sets, slightly advanced data structures, and types. Do with all sequences. We can index them, we can slice them, we can subset them, we can get the largest, the smallest. These are the different kinds of operations Python allows us to do them easily and simply, guys. Okay, lists are the most versatile. In other words, they are very flexible. You can have teacups and coffee cups. And in certain kinds of advanced data types, it doesn't allow you. It says, hey, I can have only certain things. That is arrays. And we'll use the square brackets and homogeneous data. Homogeneous data means same kinds of data, but here it's actually heterogeneous data. I don't know why I have homogeneous here. That should be heterogeneous, guys. Okay, so let's come back here. Back to list here. Let's see what that means. We have seen type. Nescafe is coffee, we have seen. And here we go. Start with Nescafe is coffee. Cool. Then we have type Nescafe, that will give you a string. Cool. Then here is your list. This is the list, guys. Okay. So now if you say my underscore list, notice I'll give you 1, 2, 3, which means if you come here, so when you say Nescafe is a coffee cup, you're creating a coffee cup. But when you say my list is a tray, visualize something like this. This is a tray. And there are 3 cups inside it. Let's say coffee tray, first cup. This is the second cup. This is the third cup. So what is this? This is a tray of 3 cups. These are 3 teacups actually. They're all numerical data. Okay, so visualize the tray is getting created and 3 cups are being put inside that. Now here is another tray, my list 2. Notice this has coffee cups inside it. Nescafe, brew and sunrise. That's another tray, 3 coffee cups. The top one is a tray with 3 teacups. And now here is a tray which has both teacups and coffee cups. In other words, the square bracket is a list. List is a tray. We can have both teacups and coffee cups is what it is. Everybody with me, quick yes please. Are you able to visualize the tray with 3 coffee cups and teacups? Very good. Okay. So now A, B, C, 3 teacups. What are we doing? We created first 3 teacups and then we are hard coding them. Or in other words, we are putting them into the tray. Just another simple way of creating a tray. If you want, you can put them, create the cups individually, then put them in the tray separately is what is happening, or you can hard code them. Hard code them means this is what is hard coding. You're hard coding the coffee cups and the teacups. Here we are creating the variables, creating the cups, then putting the cups inside the tray. Okay, now here is my list, Nescafe, brew, Taj and sunrise. And take a look at this. List of 0 will give you Nescafe. That is the first. Remember, it is 0 based index. Then list of 3 will give you 4th cup, which is sunrise. Then take a look at this. This is called slicing and dicing. Imagine a watermelon. Sai purchased a watermelon and he brought it his home and his team, his family is waiting. What does he do? He's making small pieces of it. What is that? That is nothing but slicing and dicing. So what do you do? 0 to 3. Run it. Notice you get from Nescafe to brew. Nescafe to Taj. So there is a small mantra here. Let's see. Something we need to keep in mind. So let's come back here. Here is a tray. 4 cups in the tray. Start with this Nescafe. Here is brew. Say Taj. Say sunrise. Cool. Now when we say 0 to 3, guys, the mantra is the left-hand side index is inclusive. The right-hand side index is exclusive. It's like you're saying, give me the cups from 1 to 4. What Python is doing is when you say 1 to 4, it is copying it, pasting it here. Copying it, pasting it here. Copying it, pasting it here. And the 4th one is exclusive, means it is not given. What is this? Together, these are forming a new tray. So this, when you say, give me cups from first 4 cups, the last index, the right-hand side index is becoming exclusive. In other words, the mantra is inclusive versus exclusive. Something to be kept in mind. Everybody with me, guys? Quick yes, please. 0 to 3 is only giving you 0, 1, and 2, not 3. Why? Because the right-hand side index is exclusive. It does not include it. The left-hand side index is inclusive. Catching it? Sai, Kajal, are you catching it? Cool. If you didn't catch it, then let's take a look at another example. Okay, so take a look at this. Before we go there, here is Mera Bharat, back to Mera Bharat. If you say length, length is another built-in function. It is indicating that there are 12 characters inside it, including the space. Each one is 1 character. So let's say length of 100. It'll give you an error. What's happening is something, another mantra coming here into the picture. Okay, take a look at this. When you say length of Mera Bharat, this is a coffee cup. In Python, behind the scenes, what is a coffee cup is, visualize. Behind the scenes, what Python is doing is, it is creating a tray. It's creating MERA space and so on. Oops, let me move this one. Space and so on. Okay, so M is being put into a separate cup behind the scenes, not from the outside. MERA. So when you say length, what's happening is you're asking Python how many cups are in the tray. What is it saying? It's saying 12 cups. Whereas when you come to numerical data, which is a teacup, okay, if you say how many cups are in the tray, then what is happening is Python is giving you an error. Behind the scenes, a teacup is not a tray. Whereas a coffee cup is behind the scenes a tray. It's a sequence, a tray. That is why it is able to respond to length. Length means how many cups are in the tray. You cannot ask a cup how many cups are in the tray. You can ask a tray how many cups are in the tray. Catching it, guys. Everybody with me. Quick yes, please. Sai, Kajal. Good. Okay, so that is something to be kept in mind. And let's see, now take a look at this. One more time, a coffee cup. 100 placed wrapped around single quotes is 3. Why? Because behind the scenes, it's a tray of 3 cups. Now come to the tray, which is the list. Ask it how many cups are there? There are 4 cups. What is this? Let's say my list from Nescafe to Sunrise. 4 cups in the tray. Back to, now take a look at this. It has 3 teacups, 3 numerical data, 2 coffee cups. Pardon me. And let's see what we have. 1, 2, 3, Mera Bharat. So 3 teacups and 2 coffee cups is 5 cups. As simple as that. Cool. Nothing much complex there. But let's see, let's increase the complexity here. Let's go into slightly more deeper topics. A tray. Number list is a tray. How do you know it's a tray? Square bracket. Python, if you see a square brackets, it's a list. It's a tray of teacups and coffee cups. But here we have how many? 7 teacups. And you're saying 0, you say 0, it will give you the first cup. Straightforward. If you say 2, it will give you the third cup. And if you say -1, now going a little deeper, notice this, guys. What is -1 doing? -1 is giving you, minus means it is not going from left-hand side to right-hand side. It is coming from right-hand side to left-hand side. It is picking up the first cup. Okay, so what that means is, so I come here. See? Select this, select this. So when you're going from left-hand side to right-hand side in Python, it follows a 0-based index. But if you're coming from a right-hand side to left-hand side, which is reverse, it follows a 1-based index. So the 1 is actually referring to this one. In other words, that is something to be kept in mind. When you're following, if you give positive numbers, it is going from left-hand side to right-hand side. Whereas when you give a negative, it is coming from reverse, right-hand side to left-hand side. It follows a 1-based index, not a 0-based index, something to be kept in mind. Quick yes, please. Cool. Okay, so let's say number list -2. Notice that will give you the last, pardon me. Come down here, the last second one. Okay, then long list, 10 teacups in a tray. We'll say 5:. Remember, 5 means 6 in Python. Left-hand side is indexive, is inclusive. But on the right-hand side, we did not give anything, so it is going to land here. Snap it. This here. This here. 10 teacups in the tray. 5 means 5 is referring to the 6th cup. Notice on the right-hand side, we don't have any index, means till the end, which is going up to here. So it is copying these. Cool. Pasting it here. Visualize, although I'm cutting and pasting, you visualize as if it's copying and pasting and giving back that one. So in other words, again, the mantra is the left-hand side index is inclusive. The right-hand side index is exclusive, but since we did not give anything here, it is going to land. Catching it, guys, quickest, please. So in the world of Javas and .NETs, if you have to write what is taking one line of code here may take 5 to 10 lines of code. You will need to write maybe a for loop, maybe a nested for loop, tag the variables and things like that. That is what is simple about Python, guys. What we can accomplish with one line of code may take 5 to 10 lines of code after 1 month of object-oriented programming, training, and things like that. What we are doing on a first day may take a while in Java and .NET, guys. Now take a look at this, the reverse. So the same thing, left-hand side index, we have not given anything, so it starts from the beginning. So I come here, it is starting from the beginning. Let's choose this one. Beginning is this one. And what is this? 5 means sixth. Sixth means 6. And what is it? Right-hand side index is exclusive. So it would include that. It's copying this part of it. And that is what we are seeing. Quickest, please. So one thing I will force you to remember is just remember the left-hand side index is inclusive. The right-hand side index is exclusive. If you're able to remember that, then it will become easy for you to follow this and remember that, guys. All right. Let's see. Take a look at this. Inclusive, exclusive. 2 to 9 means you're telling Trey, give me 3rd cup to 10th cup. So 3rd to 9th will be given to us, should be given to us. 3 to 9. So 3rd till 9th. 9 is really 10 for Python. Quickest, please. Again, inclusive versus exclusive. Cool. Now here comes another one going a little bit deep. 3:3. Now take a look at this, guys. Long list. So what is long? Let's say long underscore list as this one. Come back here. This here. This here. Okay, so there's a tray. What is 3:3 doing is, visualize it picked up the first cup 1, 2 and 3, it skips. Then again it says 1, it picks up. 2 and 3 skip. 1 it picks up. So every third one it is picking up. Right? Multiple of 3, right? 1, 2, 3. I mean 1 it is picking up. And 2, 3 it's skipping. Again, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's picking up every place where it is getting 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, so similarly, let's say the same thing back here. 3:3. For the sake of this, we'll change to. So now you see, think of everything as 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And notice we got 5 cups. Out of 10, we got 5 cups. It's picking up the odd number. Odd numbers here. Okay, guys. Similarly, one more time, print long list 3:-2. Now take a look at this, guys. Increasing the complexity. You'll probably write 10 to 15 lines of code for this in Java. And what's happening? 3 means 4. From 4th cup, :-2 means the right-hand side index. From right-hand side, the last second one, which is exclusive. Cool. So let's say back here, discard it, put this here, put this here. 10 cups here. And what are we doing? 3 means, let's start with the 4. What is 3 for Python is 4 for us. -2 means last second one up to here, which means this part of it is getting extracted. Code -2. Given to us. Catching it, guys, quicker. So one more time, the mantra is inclusive, exclusive. Minus means it is starting from reverse or right-hand side. And when it starts from right-hand side, it is following a 1-based index. What is one word here in Python has 4 concepts inside it. Python is a simple language, but notice how 4 concepts are put together. For every one concept, probably in Java and .NET, we will write minimum of 1 to 2 lines of code, and that will probably become 10 to 15 lines of code here. A for loop inside a for loop and things like that. This is called slicing and dicing. And especially if you're working with financial data, later we'll discuss about the data frames. which is the stock data and things like that, which you might be familiar and things like that, guys. The slicing and dicing will really come to the rescue of you, of the people who are analyzing the data in a very, very simple way. If you just remember these small mantras, how we can slice and dice the data will be very, very powerful, simply powerful. It is a combination of power with a simplicity. Again, this is called slicing and dicing in a Python world, guys. Now notice this. Long list -4 to -1 means from right hand side 4 to right hand side first one. So this is like going reverse of reverse. See what that does. 7, 8, 9 just extracted. -4, that is inclusive. From right hand side, this is the fourth one. -1 means last one. So that is becoming exclusive. So as a result of that, we are extracting these three. Catching it, guys. Quick yes, please. Rahul, Nitesh, are you catching it, guys? Slowly increasing the complexity, guys. Bear with me. Here I will force you to remember that something is inclusive versus something is exclusive. Just bear with me. They will be helpful. In a day or two, these things should become pretty natural and straightforward for you guys, folks. Let's come here. Okay, so take a look at this one more time. Another list, an empty list, a tray with no cups inside it. So a tray with no cups. And length, well, it's going to say 0, should be straightforward. And another list, now notice another tray with 3 cups. Visualize that and see. Okay, so as simple as that. So let's say increasing the complexity again, another function is coming. Now notice range of 10. Now what is range of 10, guys? Actually, this will print. This will have numbers from 0 to 9, but it has a slightly more advanced concept inside it. But it's just saying range of 0 to 10, which is not printing numbers. But take a look at this. You say range of 10, you give it to a list. When you just say range of 10 in a programming world, we can say that it's giving a range object. Again, another thing I will ask you to remember. Range is another common thing will be commonly coming across, so don't by heart it. And we'll simplify it, guys. But notice here, what we are doing is you take a range object, you give it to a list object, is you're converting it to a list object. So take a look at this. You convert range to a list object, it is right away printing from 0 to 9. What's happening? The 10 is exclusive. And it is starting with a 0-based index. It is giving you 10 numbers. The concept of inclusive and exclusive is coming into picture. Nitesh and Kajal, are you catching it, guys? Quick yes, please. Okay, so that is called converting. We can convert one data type into another data type. Earlier, we converted a teacup to a coffee cup and a coffee cup to a teacup. Here, we're converting it to a range object to a list object. Let's see what we have. Nescafe. Back to a Nescafe, a cup without name. And now take a look at this, guys. This is actually a string object, a textual data. Behind the scenes, it is a coffee cup. A coffee cup behind the scenes is a tray of coffee cups, but here we are converting a coffee cup to a tray. So this is letter list is going to become a tray. Behind the scenes, Nescafe, which is a single cup, is actually sitting like this. But since it's a string object, it's a coffee cup, it looks like a coffee cup. But when you convert it to a list, it is actually looking like a tray. Is a subtle difference. That's a slightly deep one. Again, Nitesh and Kajal, quick yes, please. In the integer, can you do, please try. Okay, good one there, slightly deep. Let's see what's happening here. Come back, yes, back here. -1, here we go. Okay, let's see what happens. Long list, copy this one, let's see. You're saying you want from -1 to -4, okay. Let's try this. And so, okay, there you go. Okay, so that's a slightly deep one, guys. Let's say come here. Print long underscore list. Copy this, just for sake of Just going to put that there, back here, back here. Okay. So there's a decrement which is going on here. That is what is the problem. In other words, when you go from left-hand side to right-hand side, it is incrementing 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is, you're adding 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and then you're able to move from left-hand side to right-hand side. Whereas when you're coming from requesting from right-hand side to left-hand side, which is from -1, which is from here to here. -1 to 4 means last one to last fourth one, which should be 1, 2, 3, 4. Which one is, which is this one, which is exclusive. So here, who is this one? This is the Sri Shail. Sri Shail, okay. Haven't got the introduction, but we'll take it tomorrow. Boy, there you go. You read my mind. You're a bad boy, aren't you, buddy? Good one. Okay. So Sri Shail, who's a boy, is requesting this part of it. But what we are getting is an empty tray because this is decrementing. Colon is going in an incremental fashion. It is not going in a decremental fashion. Okay. -4 to -1, you're going from here to here. It's incrementing and going. You're not coming in this one. So there's a way how you can get from here to here also. That's reverse is what it is. We'll see that. Okay, for now, I'll say colon is going incrementing. It's not doing the decrementing. Shrishal, are you catching it, buddy? Good question. Very good. Cool. Okay. So back to what are we doing? We are converting a coffee cup to a tray. That's what we have done here. Back to a tray, few teacups. How many? Close to 6 teacups in the tray. Okay, so insert, as the name suggests, notice this, guys. 0. 0 means the 0 index. It is inserting at the first position Nescafe. We have 6 teacups there. We are inserting Nescafe. That is insert, insert is insert. As simple as that. Then say append. Append is brew. Append is adding at the end. Insert is adding. When insert is adding it, it is taking the position. Whereas append is just adding at the end. Something to be kept in mind. Cool. Then we have append sunrise one more time. So sunrise should also go at the end. Brew and sunrise. Cool. So print tray. Okay. Let's say, I think we've already done that, right? Tray is getting printed. Okay. Now here's a small tray with 3 teacups, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Now tray.extend. Notice this, guys. Tray.extend is doing this, which means we'll say, copy this, paste this here. Here's tray, here's print, tray. So, no, not this one. What is tray? Print tray. Okay, I don't need this. Print tray, small tray, print small tray. Let's do this one. Did I already extend it? I've already extended it. Okay. So, long tray has Nescafe. Earlier, we didn't have this one. In other words, let's say, let me go back here. Let me run up to here. Notice multiple lines of code. Now I'm going to put this here. So this is the long tray from Nescafe to sunrise. Now we'll say print long tray, small tray. Notice this. Nescafe to sunrise is the long tray. Small tray has 6, 7, 8. Then what we are doing is we are extending. And let's see, we can simplify it. Choose this one. So here is long tray. Bunch of cups, maybe 10 cups there. Here's a small tray. Let's say, sorry, this one. Here's a small tray. When you say extend, guys, visualize something like this is happening. It is taking this one. Cool. So let's see if I'm able to do that. It's extending it, copying this, pasting it here. When you copy and paste it here, what's happening is copied, pasted, copied, pasted, copied, pasted. Put this back here, get rid of this one. It's a new tray. So in other words, The rest of them are the pink cups. From Nescafe to the Sunrise are the pink cups, which are coming from the long tray. What is extend doing? Extend is taking. In other words, more precisely, another way to visualize it is copy it, paste it here. Copy this one, paste it here. Copy this one, paste it here. Visualize like that. That is what is extend doing. Everybody catching it, guys? Quick yes, please. Good. Okay. See. Okay, gentlemen, ladies. For today, what I'll do is let's give 5 minutes for a quick discussion and things like that. Any questions and things like that for today, guys? We'll continue from here tomorrow, and we'll try to get into a few more of these concepts. These concepts will be helpful for you in understanding Ansible, YAML, and some of the other contextual stuff and things like that will be coming across, and so on, guys. So that is, it'll become easy, guys. Okay, so just bear with me. If time permits, try to practice and things like that. And we'll share the recordings and the material shortly by evening and so on, guys. So any questions and things like that, feel free to come online. Let me know. Let's give a few minutes here before we wrap up. Everybody okay with the pace and things like that? Are you able to follow? Cool. Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Okay, I thought you might have some questions. Okay, just in case you don't have any questions, let me just cover 2 more minutes for the sake of discipline. And let me just wrap it up, guys. Okay. So back to range, let's say range of 4. If you have any questions, please feel free to come online, guys. My bad. Okay. I'm sorry. My speaker was on mute. Feel free to talk now. Range of 4 will gives you a range object. List, we're converting a range object to a list is what you tell yourself. So that is printing the tray. The range behind the scenes doesn't print a tray. And now tray.extend again. So it's going to take these individual cups and paste them into the big tray. 6780123. Cool. So same thing, one more time, tray.append range of 4. Now take a look at this, guys, slightly deep. Append, you're saying range. So what is range? Range is a range object. So notice how it looks like. Range of 04. Okay, but append, you convert the range to a list and then say append. Notice that is same as, so notice that, guys, there's a subtle difference. Even when we converted range to a list, the tray is getting added as an individual item inside. Okay, so now to understand that, take a look at the extent. What is extent? So let's say I come here. Cool. So I'll start here. So where were we? Tray.append. So when you said tray.append, guys, tray was actually this much. When you say append, the range object, let's say here is the range object. How should we put? Okay, the entire range object is like a single cup. This whole cup was put. Take the tray, and the whole range object was sitting like a single object. Okay, then in the next scenario, what we have done is to this tray, we have added range. This time we converted this one. And what happened is now is, let's say, you make it a little bigger. It did not copy the individual cups, but it created a tray here. The range has been converted into a tray. The tray now has a few cups inside. Okay, if you say extend is where the difference is happening there. Back to here. Okay, the range, this one came from this step. This one came from this step. But when you say extend this one, these cups are being taken individually and being pasted here. Actually, what I was trying to convey is, I'm trying to put the cups in this format, but I used range and converted it to a list object using append. In other words, there's a subtle difference between an append. Append is taking the entire object as whatever you have as the end as a single object, and it's putting. Whereas when you say extend is taking individual cups inside that one and pasting it inside the tray. That's a subtle difference between append and extend. Are you catching it, guys? Rahul, Nitesh. Cool. Okay. Okay. Let's say a few of them for tomorrow and continue a journey from here, guys. By evening, I'll try to put these things on a G drive or something like that and share them along your way, guys. And I'll coordinate that with Lakshmi on how to share and things like that. If you have created any G drive and things like that, also please let me know. Where I can, on a daily basis, I can add them up there, guys. Whatever is comfortable to you, you let me know. Fair enough, guys? Everybody okay? Okay. So you guys take care, stay safe and keep learning, and have good lunch, have good day. We'll continue the journey from tomorrow, guys. Cool, great. Thank you, guys. Signing off for today. Thank you and bye for now, guys. Any questions, please save them for tomorrow and we'll continue, guys. Thank you again. Take care, guys. Bye now.